This week on the PSPremiere Podcast, Seb says, actually,
First of all, they're not zombies.
I reveal the real reason I hate Resident Evil 3,
I'm a big scaredy cat.
and Mitch tells us about the grand opening of his kangaroo and barbecue supplies store.
You had a guy with like a massive pair of scissors. So it's like, it's understandable at least why in that context you would run away from them.
Hello and welcome to the 36th episode of the PSPremiere Podcast. Episode 36. 36. That's a big number.
Wow. 36.
36. That's a number of no significance, so I don't know why I'm fixating on it so much. I'm your host, James Smith, and today I am joined by a regular cast of Dory and Ford.
Hello, it's me. I'm Dory. I go by she, her pronouns. I've got really exciting news to share with everybody later, but for right now, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at dclare192.
Mitchell O'Brien.
Ooh, we're doing full names now. Well, you can find me on yes, very professional and pristine, I can see. and you can find me on Twitter at mitchob1012.
And Sebastian Cardoni.
Yep. I hope everybody's having a great week. I know Dory is. You'll see why. You can follow me at LittleSev93.
Great. Yeah, no housekeeping this week. So as usual, we'll just get straight into what we're playing. Dory, do you want to kick us off this week?
Sure. I've got a very eclectic list this week. So I'll start off by talking a little bit about Disco Elysium. Not too much, but so I've been playing Disco Elysium for the final cut for the past couple weeks, ever since it came out, and then I beat it. Technically, I saw credits twice. I went back to an important, one of those parts of video games where it's like, if you do this thing, then you can't come back, and blah blah blah. So I reloaded that save point, and then I had a very different ending, which was very fun because I'd actually never gotten that ending before. So it's a very different ending for me. So I've now beaten Disco Elysium 3.5 times, kind of. Something I wanted to talk about with it, though. What's that?
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Something I want to talk about is that there was a big situation going on with Disco on the PS4, and I'm only going to glance over this in the future when I talk about it more. But basically, there were some bugs that were in the game, and basically they were causing people to not be able to get certain items that were very important for certain quests. You can find a lot of discussion about this on the subreddit for Disco Elysium. So I was keeping up to date with that. Luckily, by the time I finished, all the bugs, pretty much all of the bugs, were patched, and the game is very playable now. You had to like press X. I know it doesn't sound significant, but in a 20-hour game where you're constantly clicking the X button, having to click it twice instead of just once to check out an individual thing in the environment can get very frustrating. So they fixed that, and now it's smooth. It's smoother UI. They patched the major bugs that were stopping people from doing certain side quests or certain getting really important items like your badge. So I just kind of wanted to say it was a little bit of a mess, but I don't know how to pronounce the developer's name. Zaum, Z-A-U-M. They came through. They dropped 2 patches in one day. I've never seen a studio do that before. But they literally dropped patch 1.3 and 1.4 on the same day, and pretty much fixed most issues after about a week of issues being complained about. So very good service right there to all the fans, which I certainly appreciate. But anyway,
Sorry, but I was to quickly add something in. Was it to you had to double tap X to select an item, or?
Finicky. Like you would press X, but if you moved even slightly while you were walking over there, or if you adjusted your position, or if you pressed another button, like it was very finicky. Like it wouldn't check out the thing that you wanted to check out in the environment, and instead, Harry, the detective, would just stand there like an idiot, just kind of shuffling around, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, because it's stuff like that sort of like I mean, granted, I know next to nothing about proper game development, but it's stuff like that where you sort of wonder how that gets past QA testing and whatnot, because I mean, like I'd say, a lot of testers would have had, similar issues. So I'm surprised that sort of made
I'm
it into
surprised that they in the credits
final
there
cut,
are
yeah.
there are a fair amount of testers, QA people
Hmm.
who tested this game. So I'm surprised it got passed. It may have been just one of those smaller things. And I mean, in
I would
game design,
imagine
this may have been-
I would imagine it's one of them things where it was caught by QA, but they just didn't have time to fix it before launch.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's what it was, but it's been fixed, and most issues with Disco on the PS4 and PS5 have been fixed. There's still some small bugs here and there. I did have 5 crashes, I think, over the 15 hours I played, so not great, but they were very sporadic, except for one, which happened in 2 places, or except for 2 crashes, which happened in 1 place towards the end of the game, and I lost a little bit of progress, but I learned to save early and often in that kind of game. So
Dory, so if you would recommend this game, would you recommend it more on PC, or is the console about the same?
I would still lean towards PC over PS. It's not a bad experience on PS4 and PS5. If you don't have a PC that you think will handle it, definitely go for PS4. It's certainly playable. It's not going to be give you a hard time at this point, but you'll probably have a smoother. I did a little bit of testing, and I think I talked about this last week, but just very briefly, loading times are at least a little bit quicker on PC, at least for me, compared to my PS4. So I heard PS5 had even more issues than PS4, honestly.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah. So I that was their first game. That was their first time ever porting a game. Honestly, if they only really need 3 patches or 4 patches, that's not too bad. I don't, and it's a quick turnaround too. So I'm a Zom defender. That's probably not how you pronounce the dev's name, and I really apologize. All right. Anyway, that's all I have to say about Disco. Look forward to more later. I played a couple demos based on the Nintendo Indie Showcase, which obviously at PSPremiere, aka Pro Switch Premiere, we will talk about extensively.
Switch Gang.
That's right, Switch Gang. Yeah, so I played When the Past was around. I played a demo. It's a point-and-click adventure. It's very pretty, very, very pretty.
Which one was this again? I don't.
It's called When the Past was around.
But what's it? What kind of? What's it like?
I'm glad you asked, James. I'm about to explain. So it's a point-and-click adventure where you basically have this woman who's dealing with grief over losing somebody, and it's a puzzle to kind of move from room to room in order to process that grief. It's standard fare point and click. I didn't think it was that interesting, but I did have to write down at one point in my this app that I use called Evernote, and I had to write down a bunch of numbers and what they corresponded to, because I couldn't fucking remember it. I tried multiple times to remember something. But so I had to write down 1 4 3 4 6 4 1 square star leaf star circle star square. Jesus Christ. So basically the numbers corresponded to the shapes on a piano, and basically you had to hit the piano notes in the correct order. And the combination of
Silent Hill.
Sure. Yeah. I actually had a giant man with a pyramid head chasing me around. Funny that you mentioned that.
Oh no.
They're gonna get copyright striked any moment. I don't know what they're doing. But
who's the owl guy?
I don't know who the owl guy is. See, I only played the demo, right? So I only played the first 20 minutes. I presume it's her husband who's passed away, but I don't remember. It's a very surreal. That's the other thing too. This game is very surreal. It is very artsy style.
I watched the showcase, and you guys were talking about owl guys and stuff. I don't remember this at all.
No, so I was inspired to check out featured games on the eShop, and that was on there. Sorry, a little bit of confusion.
Right.
That wasn't brought up at the Nintendo. That one of these games I'm about to mention was, the other one wasn't. This is the one that wasn't.
That makes sense.
So, yes.
So
the other one that was. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. It looks like it's only an hour long too. It looks like a nice.
It's not very. It's
game.
not. Yeah, the demo is only 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and that's because I'm not very good at puzzles. The other game I played was for a demo called Never Yield, and that was at the showcase.
Yes, I remember this one well.
Yes.
Mainly because of the music.
Yes, so excellent music. Very jazzy hip hop, which I love. I'm a big fan of that kind of music. It's very stylish. The graphics are cool, great music. I don't know about the gameplay. It's okay. On higher difficulties, you can get rid of the slow motion, and it looks like a speedrunner's dream. But for anyone else, I don't know if I can recommend it. I should say for both of these demos, neither of them really convinced me to buy the game. I felt like in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, actually, I think it timed me in game. But I got pretty much everything I would get out of this game. I can't imagine it offering too much more. But it's a good soundtrack. You should go pick up the soundtrack and support game dev.
That's
for,
like
color.
That's the vibe that I got from the demo. Was like the gameplay looks a little bit. It looks fun. Doesn't look incredible, but the music is, at least from the I think 1 or 2 tracks they had in that trailer. It seems like it's possibly soundtrack of the year material.
Yeah, it sounded really good. I really enjoyed it. They didn't have too many different tracks, which surprised me, but what they did have was really good. And so I was really I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know that I could like fully endorse playing it, but check out the demo. Maybe you'll like it. And on higher difficulties, like I said, you can remove slow motion. And it's probably a better experience for some folks. I had a conversation with one person who was complaining about slow motion, but I didn't mind it. It helped me. I was actually playing it during class because I'm so school has been very exhausting lately. So sometimes I need games to kind of zone out while I'm listening to the lecture. But yeah, so a bit repetitive. I don't know. It was. Buy the soundtrack and check out the demo. That's what I'll suggest.
It looks like a stylish mobile game.
Maybe. Yeah, that's what I think too.
Is it fun at least? Like overall, like it's repetitive. Is it fun? Like in spurts?
It's kind of fun at first, but then you quickly get the hang of it, and then once you do, normal or easy mode or whatever it is feels like what are you even doing at that point? You should just start over and do it on normal or hard or whatever it is. They've got different difficulties. I don't know what they're called. But yeah, very stylish, very fun in sort of like small spurts, like Seb said. I don't know. Again, it depends on how much it is. If it's like a $10 game, $10, I wouldn't not buy it. I guess I will say. Yeah. The other game I've been playing, James will be happy to hear this, is Bloodroots.
Excellent game.
I don't have a ton to say about it because I really only got into it for a half an hour last night, but it was a ton of fun. I'm already really enjoying it. I don't usually like roguelites or games in which you die in one shot, but this feels pretty fair. All the enemies are pretty standard laid out, and the fact that you can grab anything as a weapon is great. I really like the animation style. I think I missed a couple of details at the beginning about the story, but I presume that's not really super important.
The story is actually decent. It's interesting. My review's up on the channel if anyone's curious about that. But yeah, the story it goes some interesting places. I don't think it necessarily, without spoiling anything, pulls off what it's trying to achieve in the end. But it definitely has some interesting themes that it sort of plays around with.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm very much looking forward to more. I bought it on sale and used some of those Super Mario coins to bring it down to $13. Yeah, looking forward to playing more of that. And then lastly, I finished, and Mitch will know this, I finished Batman Telltale Season 1 the other day. Seb would also know this, actually. Both of you were there. But I've been streaming it, and people have been helping me make bad/good choices. Mostly chaotic choices at this point because of latency and just mashing buttons. I will say about Season 1 overall, I thought it had great writing. I think most of your choices actually matter or actually impact the plot. Not all of them. Some of them don't matter. Some of them just, or some of them are cyclical, but I just kind of, I don't have that expectation of Telltale anymore, right? I don't have that idea that, every choice I'm going to make is going to be this big bombastic thing. I'm like, no, there'll be a couple of choices that actually matter and actually impact the plot. Everything else is just kind of fluff or flavor for character dialogue. And I'm okay with that.
I feel like the funny thing with Telltale is that despite them essentially popularizing the point and click choose your own adventure style of game, they're, I don't want to say the worst at it, but there's definitely been a lot of other developers that have done that formula and done it a lot better.
Do you know why I think that is because when Telltale was around, they sort of did so many games. So they like had a mix of weak ones and strong ones, just because they were doing so many at the same time, which was ultimately probably their downfall. Whereas you've got Don't Nod with Life is Strange, who only do Life is Strange. Well, I mean they do more now, sorry, but like when it comes to Life is Strange and they're focused on that, they do that well. And then when they try and take on more than one thing at once, like Twin Mirror, it doesn't seem to turn out so well.
No, I think, and I think even Dory like sort of offhandedly mentioned it in a stream yesterday, but it's like the fact that they also just put so much money into obtaining licenses and brands is partial. I don't want to say like partially due to their downfall, but it's like, I mean, like, sure, Batman and Walking Dead, and I think they're even tossing up the idea. Yes, no, sorry, they did a Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, which
and Game of Thrones.
I'm yet to finish the Guardians one because it frankly wasn't that good. But I think part of the downfall was that they especially near the end of their reign, I guess you could say, they seem to put more effort into actually actually just like sort of pumping out new IPs and stuff that, you know, hypothetically would guarantee to get a big buck, rather than actually properly putting in the time and effort for story and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there
was
like you can tell
there was a bit of that.
You can tell they still. Sorry, fuck. You go.
There was a bit of that like sort of factory vibe where it's kind of like they have these things on a production line.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell that they still put some effort into, you know, voice acting and writing and whatnot, but I mean, technically, I think it's universally agreed that like majority of Telltale's games and products were just awful, technically speaking. And I don't needed an extra couple of months of development to patch out any bugs and stuff.
I've only really played like some of the Telltale games. Like I played Wolf Among Us or whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? Yep. Yeah. Wolf Among Us, and then I played Walking Dead Season 1, and then I played Batman. Now I played Batman Season 1. And I don't know. I generally think you're right that they have a lot of tech issues, like their graphics don't really age super well. But I still think the writing, at least in Batman, I think they make really bold choices in terms of plot, in terms of what happens to certain characters. I mean, that's the fun of and I understand why they spent so much money on different series, is because when you do your own thing and you have the license, you can put these characters in so many different positions that they would never be in the comics, or that movie studios would never do, right?
That's true.
Kill off certain characters or have different things happen to them.
I think the most groundbreaking thing, you know, that I gravitated towards, at least when it released, was that it was probably the first major example of like a popular media, something in like popular media or whatever the correct term is, where it was actually like a proper like rated M for mature game, or essentially like starring Batman, because, you know, like literally like the first 10 seconds of the first episode, someone's like someone's brains get blown out. Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, you know, like seeing that for the first time was like, oh crap! So this is what
they did it before Arkham Knight did.
Yeah, and before Arkham Knight did a lot of things wrong, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. Anyway, so I really enjoyed my time with Telltale. I don't think I would have played it, or I would have been as excited if I didn't have the group play option, which is finicky because the Telltale network doesn't work super well. I had to disconnect at least once every stream, if not twice. I wish they would fix their service, but I know they're never going to. There's probably just no incentive economically for them to do that, so I'll just accept it. But I'm really excited to play season 2.
I was going to say something. I guess, you know, one of, and I brought this up in your stream yesterday, Dory, but there's, without spoiling it, there's like certain scenes in Telltale games and episodes where, like some really brutal stuff may happen, and like granted, it's still like haunting and like brutal and whatnot, but then you've got with the graphics and art style and whatnot, I'm not sure what it is really, but you have like splatters of blood, and it's supposed to be like really haunting and gothic, and then it's just like you can tell it's just like a JPEG of like some red sort of that's been splashed over an object. And I mean, for me, I wouldn't say it took me out of it, but like there was a point where I'm like, okay, if this had either better texturing, better lighting, or something, that like the proper horror of that moment could sort of be brought out a bit more. Because you go.
Go ahead. The problem with Telltale is somebody that I beat every single Telltale game they ever made, and they're using a really old engine, and that's probably had a ton of technical issues for the longest time. It was a nightmare. But the stories were great though.
It's really weird though, because like, and it's kind of sad that I'm sure when like before they shut down, they announced or something that they were putting The Wolf Among Us 2 on a new engine.
I think I know they announced something like big that
Wolf Among Us 3, yeah. I mean, it's still coming out. Like they're working on it right now. But
supposedly, yeah.
I'm still really foggy on like the story behind that development of the studio coming back. Like, is it the same people? Is it just another company using the same name trying to bank off the legacy? Like those are the questions that I would like answers to, and they're probably out there.
It's the latter. Yeah, like it's the latter. Like it's basically a completely new company. They do have some people from the old Telltale, but as far as I understand, most of it is new people, new studio. It's not the same old team.
Yeah, but it was
management.
Yeah, it was LCG Entertainment that bought them out, but they did have a skeleton crew when they technically went bankrupt. So there was still some people that stayed behind. But a good example of the new engine was Walking Dead: The Final Season. That game ran really well. I know that it wasn't just them that worked on it, but like that's what their games would look like in this last generation, had they not gone bankrupt. So I really that game looked really nice in the cell shading and everything. It was impressive.
Definitely.
So I'm excited for Wolf Among Us 2 for sure. Wolf Among Us to me is the best one that they made.
Honestly, I'm indifferent about that just because I don't really have any attachment or experience with the Wolf Among Us, but I'm interested to see what they may do beyond that, and if they're gonna, I guess you could say, repeat the same mistakes of old Telltale, where they just put all their money and bank into, famous IPs and whatnot. But,
they should have stayed focused on like 3 IPs, and it should have been Sam and Max. It should have been Walking Dead, and it should have been The Wolf Among Us. Like those were the 3 consistent franchises. And they
I'm glad they did Batman. I mean, I think Batman was a good choice, but
Batman.
I think. Yeah, Batman was a good choice for them, but I think like Guardians of the Galaxy.
They made a lot of bad choices. I'm not. Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know why these developers keep trying to sort of paddle all these boats at the same time, because you've got, I mean, it's like Platinum does it. Platinum does it as well. Like they've got
Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They did.
There were so many games on the go. Like they've got like 9 projects on the go at any given time. Like
that's true,
and it just it ends up, if it doesn't end up making like your company shutting down because you've taken on too many things, it ends up like Platinum, where you've got all these projects and several of them just end up in the abyss. Like where's Bayonetta 3? Where's Babylon's Fall?
But I do think those mediocre games like the Ninja Turtles game and the Transformers games pay the bills. I think they just make those to pay the bills. Honestly,
I mean, not to mention that you could.
They have unlimited money now.
Sorry. Yeah. I was gonna say because Platinum had that really weird time in the like mid 2010s where they did like a few licensed games back to back, like old classic franchises from the 90s and 80s and whatnot.
Mhm.
So, like, I mean, like, I'd say, yeah, they pay the bills because you could tell that they were like lower budget type of games that they probably put together within, like, I'd say like 1 or 2 years,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I think that's why they wanted to get purchased because they
Yeah.
were barely getting. I don't know if they were barely getting by there, but they were definitely. I think internally they were having some struggles. They were just taking
Yeah,
on
like,
anything to get by.
like I wouldn't be surprised if the cost of the actual IPs themselves cost more than actual development of the everything. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've gone so far from
So
Telltale at this
Batman
point.
season 1, everybody. Good. Telltale, good job. I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, one last thing on Telltale. I do think Game of Thrones and Batman must have cost a lot of money to get the license for. So I think Batman did hurt it.
Game of Thrones especially.
Game of Thrones especially. Game of Thrones I wish they hadn't done, and Back to the Future and Jurassic Park they shouldn't have done. I wish they had just kept with Walking Dead, Batman, Wolf Among Us. Of course, coincidentally, those are the games I've played, by the way. But don't think about that. I hear I've heard mixed things specifically here, but I hear the one for what is it?
Borderlands.
Gearbox one. I can't remember what it's called.
Borderlands.
Mixed things.
Oh, yeah.
People, that game's universally loved.
Yeah, it's probably just me. I hate it.
It's probably just
James
James.
doesn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's
it's-
universally loved except for James. That's actually a Metacritic rating. I don't know if you
And
know that.
I actually really enjoyed Minecraft story mode. Like that had a lot of heart. Like that was surprisingly
That's
that was
funny.
surprisingly good. I felt really sad when over a pig. I'll just say
Yeah.
that. But the funny thing is that game
classic
became really rare, and it was like $99 on the.
You know what else became rare? That pig. Yeah.
That's actually
Too
never mind.
soon.
Ooh.
Too soon.
All right. So anyway, who's going next?
That's actually what happened.
All right. Seb, what have you been playing this week?
Well, I was playing NBA 2K21 as you guys were watching me play before the podcast. I don't really have much to say. Like now that I played a lot of games and got my points up, I'm averaging like 50 points a game and triple doubles, and now it's getting easy, like laughably easy. That's just how it goes in career mode. I'm also playing Yakuza 0. Obviously, I'm doing those videos, but I haven't played in a while. I kind of put it down for this week. So I played like one more chapter and then I stopped. I already beat it on the PlayStation.
Quick question with Yakuza 0. Sorry, how long does that game take to beat? Because I've got Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I also just bought Yakuza 0 like a couple of days ago on sale. I haven't like picked it up, like I haven't properly played it yet. But like how, like would you say it's probably better to start with that and then go into Yakuza Like a Dragon, or just sort of like go straight into?
To me, I'd played in chronological order. But if you really want to play Like a Dragon, you can because it's a spin-off game and it doesn't really have to.
Yeah.
I've heard that. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would recommend Yakuza 0 first. In terms of how long it is, it's really dependent on you because there's a shitload of side stuff to do in that game. There's a big like city map, and you can do all these sub stories. So it's totally up to you. If you were just doing the main story, it's probably in the 20s. Like maybe 30s. If you're watching all the cutscenes, you're not getting bored. Because I know that game can be those games can be very slow. Like the cutscenes do wear on you because there is like 10 minutes where you're just putting the controller down and watching. Even Like a Dragon's like that, so just keep that in mind. People don't know what they're in for when they get in that series. Like that game, it has like the Metal Gear Solid like flavor where you're just literally put the controller down for 10 minutes and watch.
I love Metal Gear Solid 4. Let's go.
Yeah, so the combat's really fun and like it's crazy. It's wonky. It has like it's serious but also goofy at the same time. It's really great. It's a great series. I can't even say it's underrated anymore because now there's a million ways to play it now. Now it's on Game Pass and PC and PlayStation. So,
but bring popcorn.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's very much so a movie or a TV show in a game. So yeah, So I would start with the zero. So I'm also playing Skyrim on Game Pass. I was just in the mood to play it again. I beat it like 5 times, but I don't know. It's like Resident Evil 4. I just get the itch, and they know it. That's why they put it on every platform.
Just Seb.
Yeah, but I'm trying out a thief like archer build. So I'm kind of playing the game like a third-person shooter or a first-person shooter because I'm literally just using a bow and aiming with a mouse and keyboard. So it feels like I'm playing like a slow version of Doom. In a way, it's really fun. It's totally different when you play with a mouse and keyboard compared to a controller.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't have to say much about Skyrim. You guys probably all know what Skyrim is.
Everyone's played Skyrim, right?
Yeah.
What's the Skyrim?
I may not have
Yeah,
played
Oh my
Skyrim.
god! Oh my god!
I may
You
not have
haven't
played
played Skyrim?
Really?
I've
also
I don't think I've ever
definitely
played Skyrim.
Have you ever played Elder Scrolls, like any game?
I remember vaguely playing Elder Scrolls when I was younger. I don't remember which game it was, but I don't think it was Skyrim.
It was probably Oblivion, I would guess.
Yeah, I think I played Oblivion. I think,
Yeah.
but very briefly, and I didn't get into it. And I.
Oh
never
my god,
tried
Dory,
the
look
game.
out! That's Todd Howard behind you. He's coming to sell you Skyrim.
Oh my god!
Tell me lies, tell me no.
Oh my
They-
god,
they-
that's too loud.
they do have Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim on Game Pass now, so definitely check
They
that
have
out.
everything on Game Pass.
Those games are great.
I was going to say that's everything on there.
We're a
They're
PlayStation
actually selling
podcast.
a couple of my,
Yeah,
my kidneys on Game Pass. Game Pass actually having a discount on my kidneys currently.
Do you know what though? Like I've played the Amazon Echo version of Skyrim. I don't. Have any of you guys played that?
I have
the
yes.
Echo version of Skyrim. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can
like
play on Amazon.
they
Echo.
made it as a joke because you know like if Skyrim gets ported to everything, that's the joke.
Yeah.
So like they
but-
called it Skyrim Very Special Edition, and it was like an E3 joke one year, but
Yeah.
like they actually made it, so you
Yep.
can
Oh,
actually
you're
go and,
kidding.
you can actually download it,
I
and
thought
it's
that was a
fun.
joke.
It's fun because
Nope.
it's like a text-based adventure game.
Yep.
Where you give it commands like go into
Yep.
the cave and that stuff, and
Yep.
it does it, and so it's actually a lot of fun.
So,
You know what?
so does Alexa actually say to you, "Hey, you're awake"? Or
No, unfortunately, no, she
Okay.
doesn't.
I could probably play it on my fridge. I have a smart fridge. I can probably play it on that too if I really wanted to. You can play Skyrim on anything.
I've got a thing on my Echo where I say Alexa, intruder alert, and she says never should have come here, and starts playing the Skyrim combat music.
oh no.
So then I'm also playing Oddworld Soulstorm, which we'll talk about. So
Yes.
I didn't play much this week. Yeah.
Well, you played more than me. That's for
Well,
damn
my
sure.
usual self.
Yes.
Mitch, what have you been playing?
I've managed to get in a few things actually. I do think I mentioned I beat Ghost of Tsushima last time I was on the podcast, so I'm just sort of working my way through all the open world stuff, trying to hopefully get the plat.
Working my way-
But
Sorry.
but but speaking of a plat, I did manage to plat Doom Eternal, which I never really expected to do, but by the end it was actually a much easier platinum to do than I was expecting. I'd say like the only things that sort of got tedious by the end were the battle mode trophies, but I for some reason already played a ton of battle mode at launch, so I didn't really have that much to go.
Why?
Now I don't know. I've got no idea. I play it now and I'm like, this is not good.
Not good.
So how did you
That's
how did you
good.
how did you handle the nightmare difficulty? Like
I did that like all the way back last year, so I kind of forget. But I mean, I got through it. Yeah. I mean, like to be fair, like it's not even the hardest difficulty. Like, I think, not to mention like the extra lives and stuff really sort of came in handy by like at the end of the campaign. But yeah, I honestly can't say how I handled the Ultra Nightmare difficulty because
Mitch,
that was
this
very
platinum makes you a real gamer TM. I just want you to know that.
It actually does.
there's no other way
it
around
makes you a
it.
pro gamer, especially
Pro gamer.
getting the platinum with a controller. This is a mouse and keyboard game, and you did it with a controller. So that's up to you. We're not even on your level now. You have ascended like above all.
I have
First-
ascended to greatness.
First, Mitch plays Resident Evil 4, and now this. I mean, he's just met us and then just rushed past us.
He's gonna start rising on the podcast. Like when we're
That's right. Mitch, rise up.
it's gonna be a ray of light. Like
Oh,
I think
like
it's
the
you.
Halo music. The Halo
Yeah.
music is gonna start playing. Oh,
The funny thing is, he has a light above his head. It would have been hilarious if that, like, right when I said it, that would have been the most perfect timing.
Oh no, I don't have it on. But yeah, yeah. So I platted Doom Eternal, and I've moved on to the first DLC because the season pass was on sale. So I played through the Ancient Gods Part 1. And I'd say, like the difficulty literally just picks up right where it ended. Like you've got they don't really sort of welcome you back in gently with a couple like easy, no, it's
No.
full on. You've got cyber mancubuses and everything. I forget the names of the enemies, but you just got a lot of the big guys where you have to sort of just expend a lot of your ammo out the gate. But I mean, that's kind of the charm.
Yeah. It's rough. Like I could not
Yeah.
get to the end of it, and by God, I tried.
Did you beat it?
No,
Really?
the DLC, no.
Damn. Okay.
I stopped. I think it must have been like halfway through, and I was on normal difficulty.
I mean, just
no,
look down on these presents. Like, you're Mitch, you're a god now, so look down on these presents.
Damn,
James is nothing to you now. James is nothing
Flex
to you
on
now.
him. Flex on him, Mitch. You are everything.
It's true. It's true.
No. But yeah, I think I kind of get where you're coming from though, James, because the DLC
I thought that was
really
an Australian
drags
thing for a second. I
lot.
was like, wait, do they have an alternative way of saying I get where you're coming from?
Like, yeah.
If not for those,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, if not for those like enemies with the axe, like the Marauder was his name?
Marauder, yeah.
Marauders.
Yeah,
I
Marauder,
fucking
yeah.
hate the
Those are the ones
Marauders.
that like make the
And-
game like 10 times harder than it is.
I
hate the Marauders. All my homies hate the
hang on.
Marauders.
I
Yeah.
love it so much, though. I love it so much. Everyone said after they played Doom Eternal that they hated the Marauder. So for the first DLC, they put two. They put
Yeah,
two against
yeah.
you at once.
Can
So-
I be brutally honest right here?
Yeah.
I found the 2v1 Marauder encounter pretty easy. I'm not even going.
All right, all
all right.
right, okay.
It's all of the super shotgun and plasma cannon, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's once you go through that combo, every Marauder is easy. It is.
Yeah. And I beat
freaking
Dark Souls in one
Blister, it's
go
called.
without dying. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I'll go through it
Christ,
again and show you how I did it.
how many Souls games have you beaten?
Who, me?
None.
Or
Oh, Mitch.
None. They're too hard.
Liar.
I'm so confused.
and he's
I'm so
falling
confused.
all the way back
Admit
You're
down.
giving me mixed
Skill
signals
level.
right now. You're giving
I'm
me
so
mixed signals.
confused.
You were Seb's idol, and now
Now you disappointed me.
But
Do you believe?
I'd say I'd say the biggest I'd say a lot of the difficulty from the DLC though comes from the fact that all of the fights, especially in the final level, just drag on for way too long, to the point where it becomes more so a battle of attrition than actual skill. Like there's like I'd say a lot of, I mean, at least how it felt, a lot of the battles in the final level last about 10 to 15 minutes, which, you know, in the main game they averaged about 5 minutes each, but they go on for so long, and after a while you just become exhausted, and not in a good way.
yeah, it's like, you know, you take out like what 5 waves, and it's like, okay, that's good. You know, we're wrapping things
Yeah,
up
just
here.
keep
It's
on
all good.
coming,
And then
yeah.
they hit you with another 5, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. See, this is why I didn't play the DLC, because I'm like, I got very frustrated with the second to last boss, and after I finished that and the last boss, and this is just on normal, I was like, I'm good. I don't need any more Doom. Like, maybe I'll play Doom 2016, but otherwise,
Wait,
like, I'm good on Doom.
Did you say the second to last boss gave you trouble?
found-
I hated the second to last
He found
boss.
it
I
easy.
hated
I'm sure
it.
he found it very easy.
Yeah, Mitch. Wait, no. Bring that key back. How was the second to last boss for you in nightmare mode, my friend? I hate this.
It wasn't too bad.
Ah!
Just get all the DPS weapons.
I looked up so many strategy guides on YouTube, and it still took me forever to beat her.
Like, yeah, so that's like the flying one, and you got a super
Yep.
shotgun in, and
Yep.
huh?
It was the floor was lava. The floor was fucking lava.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That was annoying.
That's what I struggled with. Not so much her. Just I had the strategy down, but it was just the floor was fucking lava. And Doom is not as competent of a platformer as it wishes to be. Like, it's okay, but it's like it's not as good as it thinks it is.
No, not at all. That I think there's the worst parts of Doom Eternal, and I have no idea why they decided to bring it back even more for the DLC, are the swimming sections. The Doom Slayer or Doom Guy, whatever the hell he's called, does not have time for swimming. He just apparates into locations, and he has no time for swimming. Not to mention, I don't know how he can actually swim in his suit. That thing must weigh like 15 tons or something. But oh well. I'd say, look, only really buy the DLC if you were like, like a big enough fan of the base game to like actually beat it on like, higher difficulties than normal, because otherwise you're probably going to struggle. Like, I know the final boss in the first DLC was like, that was a pain and super stressful to get through at the end. But like I got through it, but like it's definitely one of those things where I wouldn't go back to replay it necessarily, just because the combat encounters are just way too long. Like, even if I was to get all the trophies in that as well, which, I mean, I don't really feel like trying to attempt the extra life mode in that, because I don't think that's possible. You're not a masochist, realistically. So no, I'm not a complete masochist. That the extra life mode on the DLC sounds weird.
You sure about that? I want you to get Demon Souls, and I want you to beat the Temple Knight on the first try, and then send that video to James.
First try, no, but I'll definitely
every time.
Have you actually made it?
I actually
the Tower Knight.
Tower Knight, whatever.
Tower Knight. My bad. Yeah.
No.
Temple Gate is the.
I can't believe Seb just got out knowledge.
I said Temple Knight.
Demon Souls.
Temple Knight.
I actually did beat him on the first try, but I was using a magic build, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's
it. Okay.
Not really.
I wasn't.
It made it easy. It made it a little.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, that's Doom Eternal, the Ancient Gods Part 1, which, Jesus Christ, that's a mouthful to say. The other game I've been playing this week, or another game I should
just
say.
Wait until Doom Eternal, the Ancient Gods Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Well, yes. I'll actually say that I don't know what it is about, because the Ancient Gods Part 2, it looks like huge in scale, and it's essentially like, it could be like its own a game of its own, and they charge you like 45 Australian for it. So I really don't know what's going on.
I want you to tweet Bethesda and tell them, make your games harder. I want your games harder.
I'm Sure, Seb. I am.
Tell them.
Absolutely that much of a masochist.
Yeah, flex on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, but no. So the other game I've been playing this week is Haven, which I've been looking forward to playing for a long time. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's like, this really lovely little game where it's essentially you play as a couple, and they have escaped to the this strange, distant off planet in escape of, like, I'm assuming a totalitarian government or something. And essentially it's kind of like hard to explain it, because essentially, like, at the moment the main goal is to fix your ship, and by doing that you essentially have to just sort of like glide around all the different like planes and islands and stuff, and you can follow these like sort of trails of light or flow, and essentially like you have it's kind of like a mini puzzle. If anyone's played Infamous First Light, it's kind of like how in that game you had the those like neon wisp trails that you had to follow until you like eventually got to the end and caught them. It's kind of a similar mechanic to that. But essentially, you're collecting a bunch of like berries and rust parts and stuff. And then occasionally you'd find enemies to fight, which I mean, when the first combat encounter of the game, they essentially just say, "Hey, you can, if you do this at the same time, both characters can attack at the same time," and then that is it. That is all they say to you. They essentially, you have options to like blast or impact or defend, and then you've got a pacify option, which essentially just like cleanses corruption from the wildlife or something. I don't really know, but I think the main reason I'm playing this game is just sort of like for the character moments and dialogue between the two main characters. I'd say that's really why I'm playing it, to be honest. But yeah, like I don't really have much else to say on Haven at this point. I've probably only played like 45 minutes, but I'm looking forward to playing some more.
I gave it a try. It didn't click with me too much. The gameplay seems a little simple.
I've been thinking about it.
Are you playing it on?
Yeah,
Mitch, are you playing it on PlayStation?
PS5. Yeah, PS5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you bought it? Okay.
I think, like, yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. But yeah, like I think, like it feels kind of aimless at this stage. Like I don't really have a decent sense of where I'm going because there's no map in this game at all, and you just sort of have to rely on vague bits of dialogue from characters like I think it's this way or something like that, and it's just like okay, I don't really know what I'm doing or where I'm going, but all I know is I'm just like sort of hovering over these dust particles or something and getting materials. That's really all I know at this point.
Yeah, me personally, I was on the fence because like I saw it came out like $25, and I was like, do I really want this game? I don't know yet. Still,
it seems, at least as it is now, it seems a bit overpriced for the $30 I got it, and even then that was on sale. So it seems a little bit overpriced, but like I'm still at least enjoying it so far. Like I mean, as I said before, it's mainly the interactions between characters that I'm invested in. I think the art style I enjoy, especially like with the little character portraits that come out, but the actual models and textures themselves are very low. I don't want to say low res, but like they have no detail in them at all, really.
No, they don't.
So yeah, so like it kind of like takes you out of the experience, like when two characters are talking. So you've just sort of got to like focus on the character portraits instead.
Yeah,
and then it makes
How's the How's the soundtrack?
I'd say it's pretty good so far. Like I mean, like there's outside of like the main menu thing, there hasn't really been anything that's caught my mind. But like it fits the vibe of like this like sort of really nice and at the moment like sort of comfy and cozy type of adventure, if you want to call it that. Like I haven't really had like it's no Persona 5 or anything where you've got like music tracks that you can like sort of bop to and have fun with, but like the soundtrack's fine. Like I'd say the art style and writing are probably the best things this game has going for it, despite the lack of textures and detail. But I think like I'm looking forward to playing more, seeing where the story goes, because I think that's really the main reason why a lot of people would be playing it, because I mean these characters have a lot of qualities that endear you to them quickly. They're not they're likable, they're relatable enough, so it's not like not necessarily a matter of like, oh, I have to like play an hour to properly get into these characters. Like the writers know that like they've posed in a way where you can almost immediately get attached to these characters and like their relationship with one another. So it's a nice little game.
I think the reason that I checked it out initially was because of the developer's previous game, because it's made by the Game Bakers, I believe.
It made Fury.
Fury it was, yeah. Which I never finished, but I enjoyed that game. This game is nothing like Fury. The art style's similar, but
yeah.
Fury.
Is it spelled like...
It's with an I. Yeah, Fury is that boss rush game.
It was a Plus game, I believe.
Yeah.
I get it. I see it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's a very similar art style. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's not too bad.
Similar art style, very different game.
Definitely. So yeah, that's we're gonna go from the nice and cozy atmosphere of Haven straight to Outlast 2, which is a game I just beat yesterday, and I honestly I went into this game expecting to not like it at all, expecting that for it to be severely, overpaced and very very long
and mentally
and
scarring.
relentless. Yeah, I mean, it kind of was in some ways that, but I kind of love this, which is not something I expected to say at all.
An unpopular opinion, possibly.
Yes. No, I definitely think it's an unpopular opinion. Like, I think the general consensus. Sorry,
the consensus on Metacritic is 75%, and on Steam it is 9 out of 10.
From what I gather, most people think it's okay.
That's the vibe I got from it as well. It sort of ranges from good to meh in terms of the scale. Like, some people do not like this game at all, which I can understand. Not even just because, not even if I was to say, oh, it's too dark and gritty and gruesome, no, there's certainly, I can totally get why people wouldn't be into the constantly running away and having to hide and whatnot aspects of the game. But I think, look, as someone who's played through the original Outlast in like 3 or 4 times to try and get notes for it and stuff for a video, I really want to actually start from scratch again now with my script. But I think so. I beat the base Outlast game in just under 3 hours, which was a lot quicker than I ever expected to finish it. And I'm not going to spoil it, but the first game ends in a way that would be very unsatisfying if it weren't for the fact that it had a DLC that essentially concluded it. It's essentially the it's the opposing force to Outlast 1's Half-Life, essentially.
Second, Mitch, this was banned in Australia. How did you get your hands on it? I'm not even joking. I'm not even making a Disco Elysium joke. It was banned in Australia after being refused classification.
I believe that.
It passed classification somehow, but yes, it did.
Oh wow, really?
They ended up resubmitting it, and then they let it through for some reason. So yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Somehow Outlast 2 got through, yet Disco Elysium did not.
I thought this was gonna be a VPN plug. VPN, you can.
Nope, played it on PlayStation, got the trophies, got all the mental scars to show for it, but
wow.
Yeah.
I'm a big scaredy cat. I can't make it 5 minutes in either of the Outlast games. So I'm amazed.
Honestly, I'm a bit of a masochist when it comes to proper horror games. But I think, weirdly enough, the main reason I gravitate towards horror games is just because of their stories and lore. I don't know why, but, gotta love, an evil administration with a biohazard gone wrong or something like that. But I think the thing with the first game is that there's no real coherent story, especially now that I look back on it. And there's zero themes, whatever, to show for it in the first game. I think I found there's, in the first game there's a painting of what's his name, Prometheus having his sort of kidneys ripped out by one of Odin's ravens or something, which, and you weirdly find a bunch of excerpts from Frankenstein. So I guess at the end the writer or developers just sort of said, hey, we should include some themes or thematic elements in here. So they essentially just shoehorned in this sentiment that, oh, maybe the big bad main scientist feels like he's a modern day Prometheus and he's created a monster and whatnot. Woe is he. But I feel like the one of the biggest improvements that Outlast 2 makes immediately is the fact that it has themes, and it has concrete themes, and I love the hell out of it. I don't think they properly execute their themes all the way. I think there's still some stuff that they leave hanging, and they could have possibly done a bit more with, but that being said, they do a lot of stuff in this game, a lot of messed up shit. So I'm not gonna blame them for not going any further with any of the stuff. But yep.
Do you think somebody should check on the developers and make sure they're okay?
I honestly, I would not be surprised if they have like 15 in-house psychiatrists or something there. I'm not even lying.
The funny thing is, they've only made Outlast games. That's it.
Yeah, and they're making a multiplayer Outlast game at the moment, which I'm kind of hesitant about.
The Outlast Trials.
Yeah. Yes. I'm excited to see more, but
can't wait till they buy up Back to the Future and Batman and Jurassic Park and then go out of business.
The thing for me though is I like horror games where you get weapons and fight back. I don't like the first person horror games where you have to stealth, and if you get caught you die in one hit. I just don't like that.
Personally. There are moments where I feel like the first game majority of the time justified the run and hide mentality because you had freaking like enemies that were like literally like double or triple your size. You had a freaking ghost at the end that would chase you, and you had a big ass guy, you had a guy with like a massive pair of scissors. So it's like it's understandable at least why in that context you would run away from them rather than even like try and attempt to fight them. But in this game they don't really sell their villains as much because I'd say the most imposing antagonist in this game would have to be some really old lady with a giant pickaxe or something. Like that's really all this game has. And and there's also has anyone played Mortal Kombat X at all?
I beat it, yeah.
Okay. Like the Ferrator character where you've got the big brute and then you've got like the little toddler or girl or whatever on top of them.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, they've one of the antagonists is literally Ferrator from Mortal Kombat X in this game, and they've got
exactly.
Literally, it's the exact same concept except this one has a flaming bow and arrow as well. So I don't know. Yeah. This game, this game basically essentially starts as I need to find my wife. They've been kidnapped, and then I probably can't say what happens because I don't want to get us demonetized or flagged. But something happens, and then you find out that apparently my wife is supposedly pregnant with the Antichrist or something. And then the whole game's about finding her, and then you go through a bunch of stuff, and so
it's Rosemary's Baby, kind
or
of.
the Omen, yeah, or Rosemary's Baby,
yeah. Essentially, it's.
I hope they're paying them psychiatrists well.
Yes. The
and they're Canadian. They're supposed to be nice people. I don't know what's going on with there.
Definitely. I'd say there's definitely some merit to there's people who say the game is just gruesome bit after gruesome bit after gruesome bit, and after a while it desensitizes you, which is definitely fair. But I feel like in some way that kind of they kind of do that to get you into the headspace of the main character, who very clearly has lost his mind by the end of the game, which I found a kind of interesting. There's a few legitimately sort of haunting visual moments, where for instance you'll see I'm not gonna say it just because it's super gruesome and brutal, but you have someone, a character, supposedly hanging themselves on a tree in the distance, and then you walk past another tree or whatever, and then it's gone. And then it's okay, is what is real by the end of it?
Mind games. I love that shit. I sound like a sociopath, or something. I like that kind of that's why I love observation, because they kind of play with your mind in that way, and they get in your head, and that's how they scare you.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, like there are a few moments, especially near the end of the game, in like these nightmare sequences where you go into the school or whatever, where I'm not sure if it was just like my lack of navigation skills, but there were points where I feel like the layout of the rooms were changing as I went around, and seeing as like everything's pitch black, you can't really sort of take account for that. So there'd be moments where like you'd walk down one hallway and then something scary would pop up, so you start running back the other way, and then you sort of go, wait, did that hallway change? Was that door always there? Like you're sort of questioning your surroundings and all that, which is always good to have in a horror game. I'll say, as I briefly mentioned before, I'd say the ending of the first game was unsatisfying, and technically this game ends in a similar manner, but it just because of one, the amount of like runtime they have, like it's 6-7 hours, which allows them to get a decent amount of stuff in. So you have that, but then the end of the game feels satisfying despite what actually happens being like super downer and bleak. But by the end of it, you get to the final scene and moment. You've got all this like really like nice yet haunting operatic music, and you go, you know what, like I enjoyed my time with Outlast 2. That is how I'll end it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. You have more mental strength than me. That's for sure.
I'll take that just.
So I've been playing much this week. I don't play a lot of games these days, I don't even like video games. Why am I here?
Why are you here?
Just to suffer. No, I have been playing Overwatch though this week. Mainly the only thing I want to mention, because it's been a while since I played Overwatch. I have like 500 hours logged in Overwatch, somewhere between 500 and 1,000. I used to be a big Overwatch fan, but I kind of dropped off it when it stopped being fun. It's still not fun, but I guess I'm a masochist or something. So I decided to reinstall it. But the Archives event is on at the moment, which is kind of their sort of story-based event where they sort of do events based on the lore. And they usually have a new PvE sort of co-op mission every year. But for the past 2 years, they haven't done a new one. They've just brought back the old ones. And like it's a little disappointing. I feel like they should.
I'm assuming that has something to do with Overwatch 2 whenever that decides to come out.
It's probably because they're working on Overwatch 2 and they've got more resources focused on that, which is also probably why it's been a year since they added a new hero to the game. And I can't remember the last time they added a map. But yeah, I mean, like they're really slow on the content updates these days, probably because they're working on Overwatch 2. But it is disappointing to have it like 2 years in a row where they haven't added a new mode for this event.
Yeah, it's really weird because like I've got essentially no desire to go back and play Overwatch at the moment, just because there's not really anything new or special coming out, and I don't really feel like grinding or paying for loot boxes that much, so I don't really have that much investment into the cosmetics or whatnot. Like they're cool cosmetics, don't get me wrong, but I don't think I'll reinstall the game just for a limited time event where I can possibly have like a 0.1% chance of actually getting some decent skins. But yeah
exactly. To be fair, the loot boxes in Overwatch are better than most games at this point, because a couple of years back they pretty much removed the chances of getting duplicates entirely. It's interesting actually, like because they announced that they were lowering the chance of getting a duplicate, which I kind of assumed, and I think most people probably kind of assumed at the time, was just going to be like, okay, so you'll get slightly less duplicates now than you would before, but you get absolutely, the way it calculates it, right?
Yeah.
Is you've got the different rarities in the loot boxes. So you've got like common, rare, epic, legendary, etc. So at first it decides what rarity of item it's going to give you. So let's say it's decided it's going to give me 4 commons, as it usually does. If I have every common in the game, that is the only time it'll give me a duplicate. If there is any common in the game that I don't have, it will give me that before it gives me a duplicate. which is like a great, like, that's honestly they're the best loot boxes, which is, I mean, it's not a high bar, let's be fair, but they're as loot boxes go, they're pretty good loot boxes.
Yeah, I'd say probably like one of the worst slash worser, if that's even a word, implementations of loot boxes in a game would probably have to be Rainbow Six Siege. Like, especially if you just grind for the loot boxes or packs, whatever they're called. Just because, you know, you could spend hours upon hours grinding for this loot box, and then you only get one item. So for all you know, it could be like, you know, for one, it could be a common, and then two, it could be, you know, a common that you've already got. So you just get, you know, renown from it or something.
Yeah, the frequency of those is not great.
Yeah.
No. To be sure. But yeah, in terms of Overwatch, so they have the archive events that I mentioned. The thing is, I'm not even sure why I'm mad that they haven't added a new one, because they're not even good. They're like,
I don't mind them, to be like, I mean, like, I'm also enjoy them for like the cutscenes and the spectacle of them all, but I don't mind them, to be honest.
I mean, I like the lore, but yeah, they get boring after like a couple of runs through. But the thing is, they've got these I just want some new content, but they've got these variants of them where there's like modifiers. They have different modifiers, like enemies. When you kill enemies, they create a pool of lava and stuff, and different random stuff like that. And those, like, you get a free loot box the first time you win one of those modes. So there's 9 of them, I think, or something like that. Yeah. So you like 9 potential loot boxes. I was trying for like an entire night to get one of those loot boxes, and I couldn't. Those modes are so ridiculously difficult, like infuriating.
I didn't even attempt with those, to be honest. Like, I just go through, like, you know, the simple straight run through of the mode like once or twice, and then that'll be it.
Yeah,
it's just those. I don't really care about modifiers.
Those loot boxes are so tempting, though. It's like it's like a carrot on a stick. What?
Overwatch, more like loot box watch. Am I right?
All right, we're gonna move on. So that's all I've been playing this week.
Thank you,
welcome. That was planned. I knew you would move on this segment.
Right. So impressions this week. We're going to talk about Overwatch. I've got some impressions of Overwatch. No.
Have a good night.
No, actually, Seb and I have been playing Oddworld Soulstorm. I think it's just the two of us have been playing. I don't think Dory or Mitch have played it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a PS5, so
no. Okay.
True.
Yeah. So Seb, any thoughts on Oddworld Soulstorm out the gate?
Out of the gate, I would say it feels very old school. It feels like a PS1 game with PS5 graphics. It definitely reminded me of the original game, but although I have very vague memories of the first game. But my first impression of it is, first of all, the story and the themes. You know, because the Madokans are like, you know, these spiritual, like, native beings, and then you got the Gluckins, which are like the big corporate, like, people that enslave them. There's this theme about oppression, because Abe literally has like his mouth stitched together, which is a sign of oppression. And so I always like that theme that they had in these games. The game is very hard. Like, it has a lot of gotcha moments. Like, it kind of reminds me of Limbo or Inside, where you just like you're running and then like something just falls on you. But I would say the checkpoint system is very fair. Like, I think they put you in the right spot usually. Although it's almost impossible to keep all the Madokans alive. I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, but it's really hard to keep all of them alive. Like, I literally finished the second mission with like one dead. I got so pissed that I couldn't go back. And
the thing is, I couldn't even get past the second mission because I didn't even get to the bit that you're talking about. Because there's this bit where I think it's like the first part of the game where you encounter enemies, and like I don't know, how do you get past that? Because like the first guy I can get past him, I can tie him up and everything, but the second guy I just have no idea how to get past this guy, because you have to kind of sneak past them, and if you stop sneaking for 1 second, it'll wake them up.
Well, first you have the psychic powers, so you can possess them and then blow them up that way, but I don't think you have that right in the beginning. But
you do have it, but there's a thing that blocks it.
Yeah. if there's a fireplace near it, you throw the green bottle on the floor, and it will catch them on fire and kill them.
Right. Okay. I think go back
Yeah,
and
that's
have a
how
look for that.
yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So, but in general, the gameplay feels kind of average. To
yeah,
me.
I would say it's average.
Yeah. It doesn't feel anything particularly special, but
No, it
it's
feels old. It feels like a '90s game. That's what.
yeah. But it feels it's fun enough to sort of keep the game entertaining, so you can get through the missions and to the cutscenes, which, like the story and the cutscenes and everything, that is the main appeal for me so far.
Yeah.
The music in particular in the cutscenes.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just nostalgia or something, because I played Stranger's Wrath years and years ago, so I don't know if that, but like it's sort of turning some, it's flipping some switch for me, you know.
Yeah, the cutscenes are like movie quality. Like this feels like a movie that would come out in the theaters. Like I was really impressed with like the story and the pacing and the music. Like it was really high quality. I feel like a Pixar movie.
Yeah. It is, and it's quite dramatic as well.
Oh, it's very tragic and sad. Like I said, there's a big theme about oppression, so it's not like right off the bat, like it has a very dark. It has a kind of a dark humor to it. You know what I mean? Because there is humor, like a subtle humor, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it definitely tackles some heavy themes. But
it's like it's that thing. It's like
yeah,
the tone doesn't feel like your average indie game. It feels very unique. It feels almost like they've carved out a niche for the Oddworld series.
That's true.
That just no other game seems to have.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. So have you been going after the collectibles and like the secret areas, or
yeah, I got 3 out of the 4 in the first level. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like there's if you guys didn't know, there's a bunch of like collectibles they throw in there and hidden areas. Some of them are kind of hard to find, and some of them are like right in your face. But I don't know if they really do anything. Like I know one of them increases your health, but like you die in like 2 hits anyway, or
so
maybe
there's not much point really.
Yeah, if you catch on fire, you can roll to get out of it, but if you fall in the fire, you're probably gonna die. But like I said, the checkpoint system is very fair, but you're gonna die a lot. It's that kind of game. It's very trial and error heavy, so you have to experiment how you handle a puzzle. Well, not like a puzzle, but like
how does the game sort of like implement any like sort of PS5 features, like, you know, haptic triggers and whatnot?
It feels like it has haptics.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Do they do it well, or do they just sort of like have it there?
I mainly noticed
it's not Astrobots, but it's pretty good.
Yeah,
like,
I mainly noticed it in like loading screens and stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm not the best person to ask that because I'm so used to it now that I don't even think about it anymore. So like, it doesn't blow me away like Astrobot did. Like because I've been using it for like 6 months now, or almost 6 months.
I can't even imagine what those haptics must feel like. I hopefully someday, someday.
Yeah, I will like quickly. I'll quickly just say this, like, and then we can get back to Oddworld. But I'd say the worst haptic, the worst are they called the haptic triggers or whatever they're called?
Adaptive triggers.
Adaptive triggers. That's the worst adaptive triggers in a PS5 game I've probably ever witnessed are the ones for Avengers, because for some reason, I don't know why or how they have this, but the trigger just sort of feels like it keeps on jamming. So you have to actively, and when you have to press the right trigger to do stuff like parrying enemies and stuff, you have to actively force your finger down the trigger to actually do anything. And like, one, by the time you actually manage to push it down, you're already hit and possibly dead. And 2, it feels like you're going to break the controller at some point. So, yeah.
And another side note, do you guys' like PS5 controllers get dirty in the back? Like I feel like I have to clean mine like every week.
I noticed that more than my white Xbox controller for sure.
It's like I got dirt like right here. My hands are not dirty.
Yeah, I get that under the triggers.
Yeah. It must be oil from our hands.
It's probably because the grips, the texture.
Yeah. So in Oddworld, you get a bunch. You get a couple items. There's gonna be a lot of flames. You get like water, but like little water like like bottles you
The,
throw
yeah,
at the.
the thing about like the water bottles and everything having to extinguish the flames in that first level,
Yeah.
it really feels like it slows down the pace. I
Mm.
don't like it. It feels like you're sort of making your way through a level. You're on a roll. You're jumping over. You're doing platforming, making your way through, and then all of a sudden you hit this brick wall. You have to stop and like aim this water bottle and extinguish these fires.
Yeah, not just that, but the aiming, like especially in the second part. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, I guess, but you can possess the enemies and you can like shoot. You can use like their machine guns to shoot other enemies,
All right.
stuff like that. And when you have to protect all the little guys, like it's really hard to aim because it has like that very finicky stick aiming, and it's really easy to miss. And if like you miss one time, you die pretty much, or a bunch of the people you're trying to protect die. So it's very unforgiving and it's just very finicky.
Is there
it's not great.
is there a fail state if the people you're protecting die, or is it just that's that?
I feel like I don't know if it happens if you get the 0. It'll probably get a game over, I'd imagine. But you nothing. There is a trophy for saving all of them at the end. It's gonna be a very rare trophy. But other than that, I don't think you have to do that to complete the game. I think it's more of a personal pride thing, like that you didn't save like most of these people. But it's up to, I mean, you feel really bad about it too because they're like I said, they're slaves trying to escape. So the game kind of makes you feel bad that you didn't save them, but I don't think you have to. And then there's also like this green bottle, like I mentioned, like a brew bottle that you throw at the flames, and you can use that to kill enemies. And there's also these like mines you can stun enemies with, so you can kind of like strategize how you're gonna take on the enemies in different ways and things like that. And Abe has like psychic powers because his people have powers, and you can, like I said, possess guys, and you can blow them up. Yep, and then you can also knock them out and tie them up if you want to. There is you get rewarded for that. Like there's little like you don't have like very optional like I don't know like quests you can do where you can like go into 20 like barrels and get items, and if you collect all the secret areas and get all the collectibles, like at the end it'll say platinum. I don't know what it gets you, but it's just something you can do in those levels. I guess the game is made for you to replay.
That's the thing about like tying up the enemies as well, because as I was mentioned earlier, you have to like sneak past them in these sort of stealth bits. But it's tricky because maybe not even during stealth, but like trying to jump to like platforms above or platforms below. Mostly platforms below is like I'll try and jump down, and it, like Abe will automatically grab onto the ledge and pull himself back up. Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. What you got to do is like the stealth is very hard. You have to hold the button down, and then when you get to the ledge, you gotta click down on the stick to go down. Don't jump or don't press circle, because if you do that, the enemies will know you're there and you'll die. So yeah, it's very finicky. The controls are not that great, honestly.
Yeah. It feels like the general consensus is gonna be like the gameplay's sort of subpar, but play it for the story.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be clear. I only beat the first 2 levels, so there might be more mechanics or whatever. So, but from what I can tell, this is probably an average game with great graphics and a pretty good story. Yeah. So I'll probably get through it. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a long. It feels like a 6-7 hour game from what I could tell. I think there's only like 6 or 7 levels or something.
It could be, but they've been working on it for years.
Yeah,
like a really long time.
It's just this kind of game is just not gonna click with most people. It just feels like a game from the 90s. So I can see why. I haven't seen any buzz on this game. This game came out on Plus, and my Twitter, like I follow a lot of PlayStation guys and girls, and I don't see anything.
Yeah. I was gonna say
IGN gave it like a 7 out of 10. So it doesn't seem like people are like over the moon about this for however much space it took up in the PlayStation.
It very much sort of seems like the embodiment of a 7 out of 10 game from like what I've seen and heard. Like it seems.
Yeah.
It seems like it's gonna fit in that category.
But I'm the kind of person to like play through a game with mediocre gameplay just for the story. So I'll probably get through it.
Yeah, I mean the level is only like half hour long. It's just that there's a lot of parts you die. Like if you were like that good of a game, like that great at this game, you can probably fly through this game pretty quickly. But It's not that kind of game. It's very much so an indie game with a AAA coat of paint. That's pretty much what this game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
yeah.
That's all I got to say about this game.
Likewise. So Mitch, you've been playing the RE-verse beta, is that correct?
Yes, in quotation marks, because I've got no idea of what I played was like. What
it's the best Resident Evil game I'm hearing of all
God
time.
help you.
Is that correct?
God help you.
I'm hearing reports that this is the best Resident Evil game we've ever had.
You take a one for the team right now.
Better than RE4, that's for sure. No,
you shut your.
I wouldn't even joke about that. I don't love RE4 as much as other people, but goddamn,
sacrilege.
Yeah, no. Look, I have beta in quotation marks in our notes here because I've got no idea what the final release is actually going to be. Because, all right, so literally all that you had in this beta was play game, select your character, and then you're into a free-for-all deathmatch, and then that's it. That was all that was in this beta. Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is the one where this is the one where it's like a multiplayer game that takes place in like the RPG, but because the halls in that game are so claustrophobic, they had to shrink down the characters, right?
Yeah. You can definitely tell that they did some sort of like manipulation with the environments and stuff because the rooms are a lot bigger. Or no, the characters are a lot smaller, but they've also had to, for things like desks and tables and stuff, you could tell they sort of had to like enlarge them so they, don't look freaking weird as hell. Or no, shrink them a little bit to fit more in line with the characters. But so you've got characters like famous RE characters and stuff, and they each have their own abilities like an L1 and an R1. You can like do a full on dodge roll that's on a cooldown. Everyone has their signature weapon, which is often like in Ada Wong's case it'd be a crossbow. In Leon's case it'd be a shotgun. In others' cases it would be an assault rifle. Stuff like that. You can find grenade launchers around the map, and you can also pick up these virus vials or canisters or something, where essentially in this game, and I'm assuming this is what they're going to call their big mechanic, is that whenever you die you are transformed into a tyrant or some form of bioweapon. So for instance you can turn into Nemesis, Mr. X, Jack Baker, even from RE7, and then you've also got a bunch of they've got like some of the molded and stuff, and they're all essentially like melee characters, but the combat's really finicky because they each have the characters' hitboxes are so small and they move so quickly, and the bioweapons move so slow to the point where you can barely get a hit in at all, and you'll essentially just die immediately as a bioweapon again.
But you said you can pick up virus canisters.
Yes. So essentially they're like so essentially depending on how many you collect in a life, you can sort of like go up to different forms of like bioweapons. So for instance, if you die without picking up any canisters, you'll just turn into like a regular molded or something.
So it's kind of like so it's kind of like Star Wars Battlefront, right? Where you spawn and you can spawn as like bosses and stuff.
I'd say so, just a bit more randomized and balanced, if that's even the word, than that. Because so like essentially like like if you get 2 vials, for instance, you can play as either Mr. X or Nemesis, but there's no way for you at all to like select a preference or anything. So you'll just it's really just a toss of the coin as to like which one you'll transform into, and if you either don't know how to play Nemesis or Mr. X, or you don't like playing them, then tough luck, because that's who you're stuck as.
So Mitch, like how buggy is this game? Because I'm watching gameplay right now, and someone got punched through a wall. Like So yeah,
I didn't encounter any bugs, surprisingly enough. It's just, I'd say the biggest problem with this is that it just suffers with a lack of care, if that's the word. Like Polish wouldn't even do it. Like, it technically, for me at least, it was fine, but the biggest problem is that this just feels like a fan mod. Is the game's biggest problem. It doesn't feel like...
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
sorry,
like
sorry, someone got punched through a wall or someone got turned into a Jill sandwich?
They got thrown through a wall, and then you got like a combo in the wall. Like he clipped, Mr. X clipped through the wall and did a combo in the wall. Like, yeah,
I see.
Yeah, it's really weird, but yeah.
Like, the idea is not that bad. Like, if they really had to care for the series, they did all these cool characters and enemies throughout like the last 25 years of the franchise. You can do kind of a cool game. But like they literally just took like Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake and 7, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's why it looks like a mod. It's literally just like
it's an asset flip. That's what it is. It's a literal definition of an asset flip. And if you told me that this was, honestly, I think, like, this may sound a bit harsh, but I do not think Capcom should, and they haven't really, but I don't think they should be putting this on the back of the Resident Evil Village cover at all, honestly. Like kind of like what they did with Resistance. I don't think they should even mention it on that game at all. Just quietly release it for free on the PlayStation storefront and just let it die there.
Capcom can't do multiplayer on this series. They've tried so many times. The only time they've ever done a good job was the Outbreak series. Like, like give us an Outbreak 3, please, or remake it.
Yeah, the thing I'm most confused about though is that I have no idea how the progression, if there's even progression in this game, how it's gonna work, because it's an arcade game, so like I'm assuming that they're gonna have loot boxes and stuff, and you get new wacky cosmetics for your characters like in Resistance, but like even though Resistance wasn't that good of a game, the one legitimate praise I had for it was the fact that it took the Resident Evil formula, like, the 3-act structure and starting in the streets, then going into like a mansion or complex or whatever, then finishing in an underground lab. They adapted that into like a short form multiplayer experience, which I think is a legitimately, they, in theory at least, they handled that really well. Here, though, I don't know what they're doing. They just got a bunch of assets from old Resident Evil games, gave them some shotguns and assault rifles, and just let them at it for deathmatch. Like, this probably took like a couple of months at most to develop, I'm assuming.
Look, I got to talk about this. Now, there's been a news story. It's not really a news story because it's something that Capcom clarified years ago, right? But apparently all of us forgot. And the RE engine stands for Reach for the Moon,
right,
not Resident Evil. Now I know everyone's upset that it doesn't stand for Resident Evil, and look, I'm upset too. I have my priorities straight in life, okay? I am also upset about this thing that definitely matters. Yeah. But who has ever heard of reaching for the moon? Like, don't you reach for the stars or reach for the sky? Like, that's my new issue with this, is that you should be reaching for the stars or for the sky. Like, no one reaches for the moon. Nothing's on the moon.
It sounds like probably the most Kojima thing that Capcom's ever done since the Pragmata trailer back last June.
They did it before the Pragmata trailer.
Right, they did. They did. Although I don't know how the timeline of this works. Actually, I don't know.
The thing is, like, this game doesn't look like it's bad for like 25 minutes. Like, I'd probably have fun for like a half hour, but I don't think I can ever stick with it, obviously.
It's fun. You play about 2 or 3 matches and you've seen everything.
I'm falling asleep just listening to you talk about it.
Yeah,
I am.
No offense.
Capcom just can't do multiplayer.
I don't know why they. Yeah, like I Resident Evil Village seems like, like, for better or worse, James, despite the amount of content they had, like, for the amount of content they had in Resident Evil 3 Remake, Resistance made sense as, like, an additional fun little multiplayer thing. For RE Village, though, like, it seems to be, like, it's generally considered, at this point at least, to be, like, one of the more contentful Resident Evil games to date. Like
They said it at least a couple of different times in the last showcase.
Yeah, exactly. So why they feel the need to include this, whatever the hell it is?
I haven't shook myself. I haven't shaken my head during a segment that we've had more than this one, because like I just feel like this is unnecessary. It's ridiculous. The time that they put into this could have been put into refining Village more. They could have made Tall Lady taller. Like, this is just stupid.
I think it's as unnecessary as Resident Evil 3 remake.
All right, so we're moving on with the next segment because James made an obvious joke that I was hoping he wouldn't make.
Are we actually moving on? Do you want to move on?
Yeah, look, I've got nothing else to say. Although I think the one redeeming factor, the one thing that this game could do in an update probably that will fully redeem this is to allow players to have a playable Lady Dimitrescu or whatever the hell her name is. Let us play as big tall lady.
Oh my god! And what if her special is stepping on people?
not to drag this out. The concept of like playing as a Resident Evil enemy is really awesome. Like, if you play as a that's like really cool. But they just totally fumbled the ball here. But
yeah, like because at least with the Resistance, they tried to at least somewhat tie it back in with the lore, but I have no idea. Like, so, like, you die as, like, one of the main heroes of... I feel like the Capcom devs probably just, like, watched The Dark Knight and heard the line, you either live long enough to... you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and go, hey, that's a good concept for a Resident Evil game. We're gonna do that. And... Because, like, So, like, you're one of the, like, established Resident Evil heroes, and then you just turn into, like, the Nemesis or something. And there's no precedent, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, sure, why not?
Loot boxes. Those are the reasons, Mitch.
Yes.
Those are the reasons.
Yes, I will be legitimately shocked if there is no microtransactions or loot boxes.
Greg, a.k.a. Flaming Queso, this one is for you. Bad job, Capcom. Bad job.
I will. All right, you know what? I will.
Mitch, this game doesn't need a half-hour impression. Let's move.
No.
For the love of God.
And then we can move on. If this game doesn't have microtransactions or loot boxes, I will play this game for 1 week straight. That is it. That
you have to stream it.
That is your pledge.
Yeah,
and you have to stream it with you on camera.
Mm-hmm. So you can see my life fading.
Utter defeated look.
No.
Okay, we're
going
to get to the news in a second, but first, as usual, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor.
This week's episode is sponsored by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the brand, the turtles themselves.
Yeah, I'm one of the four turtles. I think there's four of us, right? We're the painters or something. I got a big sword.
I'm the smart one, and I like it.
We like this podcast.
Yeah, I do. I'm the generic action one. Yeah, keep going. It's cool. This is a good podcast.
Anyway,
I like it.
Bye.
All right, we're back. And Dory has a special announcement that she would like to share with the class.
There is now a class here. I am a lucky recipient. I have been chosen in the Hunger Games. No, wait, no, that's not a good analogy. I have won the lottery, not literally the lottery that Sony.
All right, let's get the show on the
thing.
Road. Come on.
Anyway, I got a PS5 from GameStop. And I'm very excited about it.
Hey, this is new information to me.
This means that all main members of the PSPremiere Podcast crew have a PS5. So we're gonna go full Thanos pretty soon. We just need to add like one more member or something like that, and then we'll just blow up, I guess.
You have joined the Pantheon. Congratulations.
Yes.
But yeah, so
I'm really excited. My story is not as wild as Mitch's. But somebody in the Discord actually, thank you, Chris, posted that Wario64 tweeted out that GameStop was having some stock incoming. And I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. And bundles are your best chance to get a PS5, in case you don't know, because scammers don't like it because they can't make as much money back on it. And also it has all these other moving parts that they don't really want. So it's just a better way to get the PS5. So I was looking at the $600 PS5 digital edition that comes with 2 controllers and then a couple of different cards, GameStop and PS Plus, and then I think the PS Store gift card as well. And so about $599.99. I reload for a bunch of I'm in class while this is going on, so this is the funny part. So I have to keep my cool as I'm adding it to my cart, and like it looks like I'm actually getting it. I have to remain stone faced because like I'm about to just have a meltdown because I can't believe I've gotten it. And so I think I did answer a question or make a discussion point in class at some point. Not long after I'd already gotten the PS5, I was, let's say, a lot more animated than I was previously.
I can imagine you in class like holding your mouth.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't, and I'm still, until it gets to my doorstep. Currently, it's in Pennsylvania, more like Pennsylvania. Get here. And I just like, it's a bad joke.
It's not that far. Almost.
But like, I wanted to go for it. Okay, it's on me.
So Dory, so what games do you plan on playing for like?
Well, obviously, I'm gonna platinum Demon Souls. That's first on my list. Seb. No, it's not. The first on my list is probably playing Astros, just because it's the PS5 tech demo, and I never played Astros Playground for PS4 because it was VR. So I'm thinking about that. I'm also thinking about Devil May Cry Special Edition and getting the Spider-Man Ultimate Edition as well. How does that? Let's go back over that. How the hell does all that work again?
So
I don't know.
mean, you can do it how I did it, where you just get the free PS5 upgrade with Miles Morales, and then you go into the store and you can just purchase the Ultimate Edition upgrade, which is just Spider-Man remastered for like $30 or something.
I think it's $20.
Okay, yeah,
cool.
$20.
So I'll just, I already have Miles Morales. I already have the other Spider-Man. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so there's no need to purchase it again.
So you'll get Spider-Man the remake or remastered with that thing sale. So
okay, cool.
So you get 2 games for $20. Yeah.
Nice. So, I'm definitely thinking about that as a big Spider. And I probably won't play a ton of it, but I do want to check it out with those improved graphics.
And are you gonna play Bugsnax?
I don't know. Marvel, don't hate me, please, but Bugsnax doesn't really appeal to me. I can't see myself dropping some money on that.
Marvel's not here, so on his behalf, how dare you?
I have the platinum. I thought it was fun. I really liked it.
It was good delivery, James.
Did you redeem it?
Thank you.
Did you redeem it, Dory, with PlayStation Plus back in November?
No, because it was only for PS5, right? Or was it for PS4?
You don't have to. You didn't have to have the PS5 to do that.
If you went on like the phone app or something, you could have redeemed it for free.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't have done it anyway. Like, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have done it anyway. Sorry.
I liked it too. Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. It's just not. I never really got into Pokemon Snap, which is kind of what it seems like. So
it's even if you don't like those kind of games, when you come across your first bunger, that's when it all changes.
Bunger.
I have no idea what these two guys are doing. The full disclosure. So
have you not played Bugsnax?
No, I have. I played probably about like 90 minutes.
Well, you must have come across the bunger.
Oh no, I have, but like that's the burger one, right? I forget which one was the first. Yeah, to be fair, at the moment the only like bug snack that I can concretely remember was the strawberry or whatever the hell they're called in the strawberry in the hamster ball. That thing's cute as hell.
Yeah.
You don't know, like that was an iconic PS5 character. Come on now.
I remember there were plushies of the Strabbies, and I think Marvel put out a tweet saying that he was devastated that he couldn't get one of the plushies, which I can't blame him. Those things are cute as hell.
The best one is Cheepoof. Cheepoof. You know, the flying
like
Cheeto.
Pokemon.
The flying.
I was thinking, is that a cheater? Yeah.
So besides that, obviously I'm going to pick out Resident Evil 8. Also the big reason I got a PS5 or finally just made the jump to like trying to get these past. I've been trying to get it for I think a month. And so also a big shout out to Matt Swider from I think Tech Radar or something like that. He does a lot of PlayStation, Xbox, such and such updates
Absolutely.
on Twitter. So
yeah, shout out to him.
Updated. Yeah, big shout out to him.
I got my Xbox thanks to him, so shout out to him.
Yeah, he's great and he's really helpful, very precise. So big ups to Matt. I don't know what other games I'm gonna. I mean, so the big reason I got it was the Final Fantasy DLC for Yuffie in the summer was just like my tipping point. Like I already really wanted it because of Ratchet and Clank, Drift Apart, and then Kenna. Well, I think Kenna's coming to PS4, right?
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then I think Horizon Zero Dawn was as well. So really, it was just Ratchet and Clank, and I think the DLC for Final Fantasy VII. I knew I couldn't miss out on that. So because I flipping love that game.
100%. The photo mode.
Oh God.
Okay.
Honestly, like I said, honestly, you really didn't miss that much. Like there really hasn't been a ton of like we got all those games at launch and. It's only been a few indies here and there. Other than that,
I wasn't worried about missing out on in terms of games. Like I was really hyped for Ratchet and Clank, and I was really hyped for better graphical experiences on certain games, and just wanted to try out the controller. And also, like I've said, I've had a wild year financially, where like this is just the perfect time for me to get one, and I don't know where I'll be later in the year in terms of because I'm moving and grad school might be happening and blah blah blah. So I just want to. I have the money. I just want to do this now if I can, and there's some great games on the horizon. Plus, like no pun intended, and I can upgrade some pre-existing games like Spider-Man. So I'm very excited. I have a PS4.
Was the Horizon pun in relation to Animal Crossing's New Horizons by any chance?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Just making sure I got the reference.
Any chance of you getting Returnal in a couple of weeks?
There's little to no chance about that unless it got like universal praise and people are like, if you like Hades, you've got to play this because then I've got to come on the podcast, I've got to buy it, I've got to talk about it every week. James
Returnal is going to be Returnal's going to be the new Hades story.
Something's telling me we're going to get it like a plus sale or it's going to be like a plus game next month or something. I just got that feeling.
Wild. I mean, Soulstorm on PS Plus was wild. I did not expect that.
Yeah. I can see this game being like $20 off if you're a Plus member or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just got that feeling something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I've got no idea because I to quickly talk about Returnal. I posted this on Twitter, but the biggest thing this game needs is like a public gameplay demo. Like even if it's like half an hour, 60-minute time limit, like all the. Like Resident Evil, which we'll get onto later, but even it was like one of those like really contrived 60-minute time limit demos. Yeah. If we just had some chance to actually play it for ourselves and see what it was like, then that might be better. But at the moment, it's because literally all of the actual press and coverage from this game is coming from PlayStation blog itself. Yeah, like I don't think any external, I don't think IGN or GameSpot or anyone has actually had proper hands-on time with this game. Yeah, which for what's supposedly being touted as like the next big PlayStation game / IP, not good.
Yeah, so that's true. Like the gameplay looks fire though, from what I've seen. Does it look fire enough to be $70?
You know what? Yeah, I might be wrong.
That's the thing.
I might be wrong, but I think they did sneak out a batch of previews at the same time as a Nintendo Direct, which is why nobody really picked up on it.
Yeah,
maybe that sounds possible, but yeah,
I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm sure like the week off you're gonna see a shitload of stuff, and so I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm sure
that'd kind of be too little, too late, though. I guess with how
I don't know. I mean, it's a big exclusive. People are gonna buy it. People are hungry for PS5 game.
People are gonna buy it, but I'm not we never know if it's gonna be like an Oddworld thing where people buy it, but it just kind of like falls into obscurity.
Maybe, but I think it's getting like advertised like a first party like a big game. Like I don't think it's gonna be like Oddworld at all. But it's not like Last of Us or God of War, of course.
No.
And House Mark has never made a game like this. That's my big question with them is it's a brand new IP from a developer that's never made a game like this. All their games are top-down indie games.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like is that thing it's that weird thing that I had with Days Gone as well, with Bend, where it was like they had never made a game like that either, and it seems like, and I could be wrong, but it seems like Sony's putting pressure on their studios to make those kind of games.
Yep. Hence making Bend Studio Naughty Dog North or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could, if I was to put my like triple coated tinfoil hat on right now, I guess you could, because I'd say, because the big thing last week was like about how Sony just want the big, possibly open world like single player blockbusters and stuff, and seeing as Returnal is it's a single player blockbuster, but it's a what's the roguelite is what they're called. Seeing as it's a roguelite, they're not putting as much energy and funding into the actual marketing of this game, not necessarily because they want it to fail, but just because they don't have as much priority or faith in the project, because it's new IP. It's like I think it's the first like big Sony AAA roguelite that they've ever done.
That's the first I can think of, like, in period.
Yeah.
On that level.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, like on the one hand, you think, hey, they should be marketing the shit out of this because it's a brand new, step for PlayStation. But on the other hand, they aren't marketing this because it doesn't, it doesn't fit into their established PlayStation Studios brand. So,
I mean,
they kind of
to be fair, they don't own Housemarque. Housemarque is an independent developer. They're like second party. Isn't it going to come under the PlayStation Studios branding though, or am I? I could see them purchasing them at some point, but as of right now, they're not part of
it's under the PlayStation Studios branding though. It is.
Yeah.
They own the IP, but it's kind of like the Insomniac, like when they were making PlayStation games, but they weren't technically owned by Sony. Like they were, like they made Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with you. Though, Mitch, I can see them sort of leaving this out to die in the same way that they have with Dreams.
Yeah, that's mine.
Where they didn't give it enough marketing. But yeah, look, we should move on.
Congrats on getting a PS5, Dory.
I just want to say one last thing. I'm excited, and I've heard so much praise about this game that I may pick up Like a Dragon for PS5. Maybe it's a turn-based game, which is not usually my thing. But I'm considering it's gotten so much widespread praise. I've been enjoying Yakuza 0, but I haven't been able to concentrate on it because of Disco. Elysium, not Disco, the genre. I'm sure that's distracting too.
But
anyway, I'm excited. Let's move on. Yay!
Dancing it up,
Don't play both at the same time. I
love you went to and then.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Next up, the new Bioshock game, which we know is coming, Bioshock 4, is kind of the worst kept secret in the industry at the moment, I believe.
Is it even? Didn't they like actively confirm that they are making a new Bioshock game like a while back?
I have no idea. Did they?
I'm pretty sure they like actually. I'm pretty sure like it's not what's his face like behind it
Ken Levine
anymore. Like he's Ken Levine. It's not Ken Levine this time, but I know 2K have essentially like quietly confirmed in a press release that we are doing it. We're just not going to show anything.
Well, anyway, the big news this week is that it's reportedly, I really should get the source on this, but reportedly it's set in an open world. Which is, if you guys want to give somebody wants to give me your thoughts on that real quick, and I will look up the source.
Look, I posted it into the Discord, but like, is it that hard to have like a linear like a semi-linear single player game nowadays?
Nope.
Like not
everything's gonna be open world now.
Everything seems to be open world. Like even The Last of Us, because like Naughty Dog are like some of the like they like are probably some of the most linear developers of all time, and even they have like open world segments and stuff.
Yeah.
Wide open areas in that game. So like,
if you're looking for the source, it says it was first reported by PC Games and a job listing for a senior writer developer at Cloud Chamber ask for someone who can weave impactful character-driven stories in an open world setting. So that confirms that it's open.
So it's not like an actual sort of report confirmation or anything like that. It's just a job listing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm kind of with you, Mitch. Linear games seem like a dying breed at this point.
It's a shame. Yeah.
Which is a shame because those are some of my favorite kinds of games.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take to be getting kind of tired of open world games in general.
I like semi like open world games, like games that balance the two. Like I don't want every game to be Red Dead Redemption, but like I kind of like for example like the Batman Arkham games. Like you get there's a map, enough of a map to explore. Or let me say Asylum. Like is it linear, but there's enough of a map like you can explore at other areas, or maybe Uncharted. Like you're in, or Last of Us Part 2. Like you're putting in a set, but you have enough of an area to explore. You know what I mean? So it's not really open world, but it's like you have enough to like really maybe find collectibles.
More like The Last of Us Part 2, whereas like Arkham Asylum, there's still a lot of backtracking and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
like
with Last of Us Part 2, still very linear, but the environments are more open.
Yeah, and Uncharted's like that too, or not 4, but yeah.
I mean, to sort of like sidestep from the open world thing again and sort of talk about like what's the setting of this game possibly going to be, because they've done underwater, they've done in the air, they can't really do in space, like the next logical step in space, because that would just be System Shock, which is the thing that they based off of.
On the ground.
So, well, then what's the point? What's the point? It'd just be a regular RPG then.
Yeah. Maybe like a city. Maybe I could see it like being on like a city.
Well, they did 2 games underwater, so they could just do another one in the sky.
They said it was a completely new setting though, so.
Oh right.
I could see it being a city, honestly. Like
yeah.
That would be kind of, I mean, because like I feel like part of the whole appeal of Bioshock is, you know, that opening segment where you're in, you know, the hot air balloon or the capsule, and you sort of like you're in the clouds or the misty sea, and then like, you know, that all fades away and you see like the bright neon lights and signs of Rapture or Columbia, was it called in Infinite? Like, you know, they kind of like go for those like big theatrical moments, like, oh, this is the setting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like the setting of Bioshock arguably drives the story.
Yeah.
It'll just be fucking Wakanda. You know, it'll just be in a mountain.
But was Bioshock like I never played Infinite yet. It's the one I haven't beat yet. Was it good? Like, was there a good setting for it? Like was it like in the light sky and open setting?
I feel like where Infinite differed is that because like the first 2 Bioshock games, their settings were like really crucial to their story. Like setting sort of dictated the story. In Infinite, it seems more so that the story dictates the setting. Because like it's a much heavier focus on story and characters in that game than any previous Bioshock game. I'm not going to say what they do with the setting or whatnot, but they do some pretty interesting things.
Yeah, because
where major story beats happen, and then that impacts the setting or like what you see, and then you go
I'm, like super into like open world Bioshock, but I can't say I'm against it either. I'm kind of just like a wait and see approach here. Like if I see trailers and it looks pretty fun, then I don't mind. Yeah. But Bioshock was definitely built on like being a very narrow game, so I'm interested how they would make that switch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it was narrow. Like Infinite was narrow, but like at least with Bioshock, you know, depending on the level, they'd give you like, you know, the whole area to explore. Like they were pretty sizable areas in Bioshock as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
But for the first 2 though, I really like the claustrophobic like horror feel of it, like the linear nature of it. I don't know. I haven't played Infinite yet, so I don't know. But like I prefer Bioshock to be like that personally.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So maybe you can do an open world that's like I said, like if you can do like a city, like you can do like segments that are like a subway section, or like you can do.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was about to say that as well. Like, you know, like for possible settings, they could do something like, oh, maybe it's on a train, on a plane, on a what?
You would not eat
that. Are we remaking planes, trains, and automobiles? That's
It's just
we're
green
doing.
eggs and ham.
Bioshock.
Yeah, he would not eat them plasmids, Mr. whatever his name is, Mr. Sam I am.
Not in a box, not with a fox, not here or there, not anywhere.
Not with an Andrew Scott or whatever the hell his name is in the first Bioshock.
So
Andrew Fontaine.
So
That's his
are we gonna have driving in a Bioshock game?
Oh no! Don't even make me think about it.
Are we gonna have a Batmobile sections in the Bioshock game?
We've got to have that.
It's not an open world game unless we're playing Tanks 3D at least like for 20 hours, right?
I know. So we'll get sidetracked. We'll get sidetracked.
Yeah.
So let's talk about we really need to go Batman.
It's an interesting Indeed report, and like it'll be. I'm curious what they'll do and how they'll turn Bioshock from this semi-narrow, a claustrophobic series to something that's more wider. They already kind of did that with Infinite because there are some like larger outdoor areas, but I don't know. I'm just not sure what to expect out of this if they do actually do it right.
A lot of the vibes, and like I'm pretty sure there's been other reports saying that it's like going to be like a full-on RPG as well, with like, you know, you being able to like with dialogue choices and stuff, which I'm not a fan of either, because I feel like that kind of just that isn't what Bioshock is about. Like they're about strict linear you know, stories and themes, like politically speaking, especially.
It does have some RPG elements, like when you can like customize, you can like do certain skills and things like that.
It has like it has RPG light elements, but not to the point of like essentially being a Fallout game, because what we've heard, this is essentially a Fallout game. Like it's going to be in like a big bombastic setting, hopefully, and it's going to be an open world. You're going to have like dialogue choices and stuff.
So what if they call it Bioshock 76?
Well, that's actually not a. That's actually, I can actually see a wasteland setting for this game. Actually, now that you mentioned it.
Which then essentially would just be a Fallout game, which in the end,
that's what they are anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next piece of news. Resident Evil Showcase was yesterday on the day of recording. It was on Thursday. So yeah, we Mitch, Dory, and I, we watched it. We did a reaction stream, so you can go and check out the recording of that, which is on the YouTube channel if you like. But yeah, we're just gonna recap sort of what happened. So they announced a new demo, which, Jesus fucking Christ.
This is already not great.
PlayStation owners will have early access to the demo. I don't know, Mitch, you probably know more about this than I do.
No,
I believe it comes out to the podcast. Well, I don't know. Like we upload on Sunday, so as of today, it will be yesterday, the 17th of April. It's going up at like 8 p.m. and 8 p.m. our time and like Eastern Standard Time. So for Europe, it's like 2 in the morning or something. And then
so we get we get 8 hours early access to the demo before Xbox and stuff.
Is it early access, or is it you only have 8 hours to actually do the demo? Because the impression I got was that you have in those 8 hours you can. That is the only available.
You have 8 hours to download it, but the demo's only 30 minutes, I believe. I think that's how it works. You only have 8 hours to download it.
But it's not like you only have those 8 hours to play the demo, and then after that you're stuffed, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really confusing. Like I think they did those times because it's so then Asia it's like 5 p.m. for them, so I think that's what they were going for. It kind of screws with everybody else out.
And I mean, like I kind of said in the reaction stream, it kind of feels like the reason it's so complicated is because they had some kind of contractual obligation to Sony to give them early access to the demo.
Okay, so so what I'm reading right now, 30-minute, we got a 30-minute demo, April 17 for us in America. Ours is at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 8 p.m. 8 p.m.
Oh shit, that's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow, and then it ends April 18th at 1. So we only have that one evening to play the game. And then in Europe,
Listen,
Europe gets it April 18. Europe gets it at 7 p.m. and then they have until 3 a.m.
Well, I know what my first game on PlayStation is going to be. Apparently,
if you're only giving me 8 hours to play a demo, I'm just not gonna fucking bother unless it's a demo for fucking Resistance 4.
Yeah,
I'm good.
And that's only the village demos. Next week on the 24th, at the same time, we get the castle demo, and then the week after that, we get both, but it's a 60-minute demo. I think I'm looking right on the PlayStation blog.
And then the week after that, we get the courtyard demo, and the week after that, we get the greenhouse demo.
Well, the week after that, I'd be out, but yeah.
Yeah. Just gonna keep dropping demos.
I think I got it. So tomorrow, well, yesterday, as of the podcast.
Well, that's that whole fucking mess.
That's enough.
But also,
one quick thing. I feel like Capcom went, oh, it's the 8th Resident Evil. Let's completely screw over the customers and literally everyone in Europe and other countries, because I've only got like from 3 a.m. till 11 a.m. to play it, and I've got uni that day, so I'm gonna have to like get up early to squeeze it in. But
and I get to like come home, I get to relax, put my feet up, play at 8 p.m. nice evening time, get a nice drink, play for like all night.
But one thing I did want to point out as well, in the trailer, the new trailer for the game, one of the lines at the end of the trailer, Ethan says something along the lines of "just do me and finish the job," which definitely can't be taken out of context at all. Totally normal thing for a person to say.
I've definitely had that reaction to a couple of different trailers. Anyway,
I feel like before we move on, I feel like one of the things that's sort of interesting to talk about is and kind of humorous is the fact that we're getting another driving segment in this game. I don't know for how long, but
yeah, you were very excited about that driving segment.
I was I was unbelievably happy that we got another driving segment. Like, get out of the way, tall lady. I want my Ethan busting through walls with another station wagon or something in my game, Like, yeah.
I love how hokey it is. If it's very Resident Evil, if it's not hokey in a way, like I just love it. And like, I apparently, I don't know, the villain, the guy with the hat, like he reminds me of the bad guy from Final Fantasy 15 for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I said. Arden.
I think he's the big furry guy with the big axe because he has the axe in the trailer. I think he turns into that.
Yeah. I feel like that's.
Right.
I feel like I've seen other people say the same thing too, and I feel like that's.
And
it might be the implication.
Because he controls the werewolf guys.
And he cooks crystal meth, right?
And
Eisenberg.
And they're not even trying to make the lady sexual. Like they know what they're doing. Like it's so hokey.
They ended the fucking trailer with her suggestively walking away. So I know what they're doing. If they're putting it out there, they know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
They even made a reference to it. The host made a reference to like, oh, the internet would like that or something like that.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. But
they know.
Although one thing I do like from really quick is that on a serious note, I do like that they're developing Ethan's character a lot more. Like in 7, he was just like the driving, like he was just experiencing horror. Like they didn't really try with his character. In this game, he actually is a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 7 was basically a VR game. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I feel like it makes sense that they're going this route now. Like they're. Yeah, again, I'm not going to say anything, but like from some of the leaks and spoilery stuff I've seen, they're definitely taking more risks with this game, which I feel like is a natural progression from what they did with 7, because that played it fairly safe and contained. Yeah, but I feel like speaking of risks, slightly. I feel like it looks like they've also altered Chris's face model as well, to actually match that a bit more of Resident Evil 7, which I'm happy with, because I feel like I'm one of the like 3 people on planet Earth who actually kind of prefer Chris's look in RE7 than to whatever the fuck he was in Resident Evil 5 and 6. But they definitely they seem to have found a decent middle ground between, you know, his face model from RE7 and, you know, his sort of like bigger physique from, you know, previous games before that.
He kind of looks like the one from the movie that he was in with Leon when they were doing John Wick style fighting the zombies.
The Vendetta one. Yeah, no, like his hairstyle especially. Yeah.
Speaking of, sorry, I'm.
No,
I was finished your thought.
In terms of, I use this as a segue. Like, they're definitely
don't steal my segue.
No, I'll you do it.
Speaking of movies, oh shit, it's not a movie, is it? I can't do the segue.
It's a series.
It's a series.
They keep flip-flopping between it themselves because they announced it as a movie. No, they announced it as a series. Then they called it a movie. Then they're calling it a series again. So
I think it's a movie.
It's just it's a series. It is a series.
It's a series.
Yeah. The Resident Evil Infinite Darkness series, they gave like a new trailer for that or a new thing. But it's like zombies in the White House. I don't know. The thing that I said during the stream was that I like the animation style. I think more video game like movies and series and stuff should adopt that video game graphics style of animation where it looks like a video. Because like, see, if they did an Uncharted movie, but it actually looked like Nathan Drake, it was just like a whole. That's what I want video game movies to be, just like a 2-hour video game cinematic.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, that they just use CGI.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's part of the world and everything. But this is the 5th one they've done now? Or it's not a movie yet. But
it's the 4th CG thing they've done.
Is it the 4th or the 5th? Is it the 4th?
It's the 4th because the John Wick one, which was the last one, was the 3rd.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So Leon's been in all of them, and this is the second one Claire's in. It takes place 4 years after Resident Evil 4. So it takes place in
wasn't it 2 years?
Was it 2 years? I thought they said 4 years.
I'm not sure if they said before or after. It takes place in 2006. It takes place in 2006. That's what I know.
It takes place in 2006?
I think that's what I heard, yeah.
Because Resident Evil 4 takes place in 2005, so it means it would be a year after Resident Evil 4.
2006. Mid-2000s. We'll settle on that. Mid to late.
So, yeah, anyway, the president is the president so that's the Resident Evil 4 connection there. Because the president that dies in Resident Evil 6 in the beginning of the game is a different president. So there's a kind of a connection to 6 too, because Leon's working for the White House.
That does not sound like the Resident Evil games that I've played.
Yeah, 6. He works for the remember 6, like the president's a zombie right in the beginning of the game.
I don't think have you played 6?
Really? Who has played 6? Come on.
I beat it. Like I'm talking to James. Like you don't remember
that? I swear Resident Evil is just the Fast and Furious of video game franchises. Like it goes from a totally normal zombie game to like.
What do you mean normal? Resident Evil has never been normal. Series, and they run with it always.
When Resident Evil has Tyrese Gibson screaming as he's shot into space in a buffed out car or something, then I'll agree with you. But
I mean, this is the same series. Did you watch you guys probably haven't seen the movies besides Mitch, but there's a scene where like Leon's fighting zombie dogs on the highway, and he like shoots the zombie dogs, and they crash into the truck, and it makes the truck fly like 20 feet in the air and explode. And Chris and Leon fight zombies like John Wick. And it's hilarious, and like in the climax, the bad guy and Chris like shoot each other, run in circles, and
I've seen that.
I saw that. I've seen that. Yeah, that's great.
That's Resident Evil.
Where can I watch these movies?
I think they're on Netflix in certain countries.
I don't think so. Not in my country.
Not this country.
I know the Vendetta, the newest one with the truck exploding and the John Wick stuff is on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's in Netflix in Australia, but I'm pretty sure it's in Netflix in Japan.
Vendetta, that's the one with the white mask and the gunpowder plot treason, right? That's the one with Natalie Portman. Okay, all right.
So
semi-serious comment. I do hate this title because clearly they ripped off Tetsuya Nomura in Kingdom Hearts. This should be a fucking Kingdom Hearts title, Infinite Darkness. should absolutely be Kingdom Hearts 4 subtitle or something. That's all I have to say about this ridiculous series.
Would it be funny? Would it be funny if Trump was like the president in this movie? Like they did something like a spoof. That'd be hilarious.
We've got zombies in the White House in two different senses. Anyway.
I feel like, I mean, no, actually, I'm not going to comment on that because that just derailed the entire conversation. But I feel like one thing one thing that really weirds me out about this movie is that they've gotten the voice actors for Leon and Claire from the RE2 remake in this movie as well. And because I'm not used to seeing, this older Leon without Matthew Mercer's voice or something like that.
I prefer Resident Evil 4 voice actor.
Yeah,
that's my favorite Leon. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Leon. I think Matthew Mercer sounds similar to him, but not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just more because I'm more used to Matthew Mercer.
It's funny because I thought Matthew Mercer was the voice of Leon for the longest time, and I was insisting when I was replaying RE4 a couple of years ago with my partner last year. I was like, no, it's Matt Mercer, the guy behind Critical Role, and I looked it up and I'm like, it's not. They only changed that in 6. And I felt like my whole life had been a lie. I thought he was always Leon. I don't know.
Yeah. To me, Paul Mercier has always been Leon because
that's his name.
Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Degeneration, Resident Evil Side Chronicles. Those are games I grew up with.
He's
in
the salesman too. He's the fucking salesman.
And he's the merchant. Yeah.
The merchant. I don't know
so
what
to me, he's Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He voices the merchant?
He's got a range.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Dory, this is where
James is so disappointed with us. We've lost the plot.
No, but Dory, this is where you do your famous impersonation.
Oh, okay. What are you buying? What
There
are you
it
selling?
What are you
That's
selling?
not bad.
I think they're decent impressions.
I'll buy that at a high
What are you
price.
selling? What are you buying? What are you selling?
Christopher Walken.
Terrible. That's terrible. I hate that.
Christopher Walken.
Come on, Leon. Throw me a bone.
I've gone back to hating Mitch. I don't care about Doom anymore. Mitch is dead to me.
But I really recommend the CG movies. Like they're pretty good, honestly. Like they're not a shit show like their live action movies.
Right. Listen, we're not going to talk about the Dead by Daylight thing because nobody cares.
We skipped Mercenaries.
Yeah, that's I was good. We're not going to talk about the Dead by Daylight thing, but we're going to talk about Mercenaries.
James,
nobody cares about Dead by Daylight. Come on, I don't care. I don't care about you, Mitch.
No, Mitch, we're so light on details. We don't even know who is even being added to it.
That's true.
They just announced a collaboration, and that's it.
I announced one big thing. We're getting a collectible pin or something that we can get in game.
I'm so sorry.
Wow,
We're
a collectible pin.
a fucking pin.
Anyway, Resident Evil Mercenaries is back. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mercenaries is
I
back.
love mercenary mode. So good.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
We've had,
Great conversation. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
no,
Well, this is like the hype moment of the showcase for us.
When
we saw Mercenaries, I think me and Mitch both got really hyped.
of course, yeah. We've had mercenary mode since like Resident Evil 3, the original Resident Evil. Like, every game since
I
then.
thought it
has had it.
originated in 4.
No, 3.
No,
Even 3 had one, a time limit
Wow.
game. Yeah.
Did 3 call it the Mercenaries?
It didn't call it that. It didn't call it
something
that,
else.
but it basically was what it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think this is probably like I'm definitely gravitate more towards this form of mercenaries though, where you've got like waves instead of just like constantly getting enemies thrown at you in an arena. Like that got stale to me, at least to me, after a while. But I'm fairly happy with it. You being under the clock, but you also defeating a certain number of enemies within a time limit and then getting to move on and upgrade.
Hang on a
weapons.
second.
Like
Wave-based zombie modes. Where have I heard that before?
Hmm.
Well, that's right.
Well,
Every
technically,
single zombie game ever made.
but it's Resident Evil, so therefore it's good by
Yeah,
default.
fair enough.
First of all, they're not zombies like Resident Evil 4.
Alright. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
true.
They're granados.
They've got-
Get it
Yeah,
right.
life in this game,
But,
and vampires and tall ladies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
There's no zombies, so get it right.
That's
But
ridiculous. Yeah, I'm offended you would even suggest there are zombies in this game. This is a non-zombie game, non-zombie household. We do not support zombies in this household.
Thank you, but you forgot to start that sentiment by saying actually.
Damn it.
But
Wow, you just actually me about me not saying actually, if you think about it.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
I love Resident Evil 4 is my favorite game of all time, and one of the reasons Mercenary mode of Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite like side modes I've ever played. I probably put 100 hours in that originally.
Jesus.
My friends, all we did was play mercenaries, like you can play as like Albert Wesker and Ada Wong and Jack Krauser and things like that. And it was really fun because everybody had their own set of moves, and it was really challenging but really fun. This is different because it's first person, so this is gonna feel like a first person shooter probably because it's very fast paced. That's gonna be different. But apparently and it has like a merchant. So that was gonna be the segue I was gonna do, is that they're doing Resident Evil 4 again with the merchant. Like it's a big fat guy. I don't know. Do you guys know his name?
I don't know his name. I think it's
He reminded me of the
his
guy.
name-
He reminded me of the big fat vampire from Blade. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah. So, and apparently you can there's power upgrades and you can buy weapons in between rounds and things like that. That's new.
Yeah, no, I'd say I'm somewhat interested in it. It's really just a matter of like getting to wait and see. Like I'm not expecting to put like hundreds of hours into the game mode, unless it surprises me. But I can sure as hell expect to spend more time in that game mode than whatever the hell RE-verse is. I'll say that.
I'll probably put more time in this mercenary mode than the actual game itself, because Resident Evil games are never long. I'll probably beat this game in like 7 hours, and then I'll probably put another 10 in this.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I think oh crap, what was I gonna say? I think that because with the deluxe edition, you or at least they've got a extra like the hardest difficulty or whatever. Like I think they mentioned it in the deluxe edition breakdown or whatever. But supposedly that they're toying around with at the moment, like the possibility of like that the difficulty, like the hardest difficulty, possibly having like some roguelite elements in terms of like where enemy placement and bosses are, which could be interesting because like the Madhouse difficulty in RE7, that's probably my favorite hardest difficulty mode in a game ever, just because of how much like I didn't find like the normal difficulty of RE7 outside of like a few select moments that scary, like especially with repeat playthroughs.
yeah.
But
That
Madhouse, man,
Yeah, that game was not scary except for like the beginning when you're getting chased and you're kind of defenseless. Other than that,
Yeah.
it
yeah,
kinda
it's
turns into
not that scary.
It turns into Call of Duty later on.
Yeah, pretty much.
First
But,
hour is intensely scary, and I got very, very frightened. And then everything it was on a gradual slope from there until the last few hours where I didn't feel.
Yeah. Although to be fair, that's every Resident Evil game. Like you always start off with just a handgun, and then by the end you have a grenade launcher, machine gun. If you were smart with your ammo, you're probably gonna cruise through the endings of any Resident Evil game. So
Yeah.
that's always been like
True
that.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Cool. Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. All right.
It's already good.
So the game this week, we're going to move on to the game now. So the game this week, I don't know what the name for it is. I know a couple of people have written into the Min-Max show with this game in the past. But basically what I'm going to do is I've stitched together the names of two different games. And I've stitched together the descriptions of the games as well. I'm going to read out the description, and you have to tell me what the name of the game is. So, for example, if I told you the description of this game was all hell breaks loose when a rookie attorney finds himself stranded in space after his mining ship comes into contact with a mysterious alien artifact, what would the name of that game be?
Dead Ace Attorney
Dead Attorney.
Space. Dead Attorney at Space.
Dead Space Attorney.
Dead Space Attorney. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we can like take some liberties with like what things
Basically,
we
it's
can
like
omit.
they join together in the middle.
Okay.
the two names. Because it's like Dead Space Attorney. You get it. Okay.
It's terrible, but yeah,
You're
let's
really
go.
selling
Let's
me
go.
on that.
She combined two games. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the first one, you guys can keep score amongst yourselves, whatever. Right. 5 friends set sail on a holiday diving trip in New York City. As the day unfolds and a new villain rolls in, their trip soon changes into something much more sinister and terrifying, forcing them to rise up and save the city.
So can we theorize about what games are in that first before we find the title, or do we just
Okay,
have to
so
come
I-
up with the title?
That just feels like that was kind of vague. It feels like a lot of games. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything more specific?
Well, I got Man of Medan feelings from it. Am I,
Yeah,
am I,
that's-
am I halfway
yeah.
on there, James? Man of Medan?
I don't
I
think
can't
it's
say
like
that.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. I feel like. Oh wait, I feel like because I got some Insomniac Spider-Man vibes from like the sinister Rise Up New York City stuff.
You know
So
what?
like, are we
Yeah.
are we
Fuck it,
going for
let's work as a team. Fuck
Spider?
it.
Spider-Man of Medan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Spider-Man of
Yay!
Medan.
Wow. Never mind.
Hey, we got it.
All right. When a former investigative journalist returns to the City of Glass to say a final farewell to his best friend, it soon becomes clear that he'll need to dart up walls, zip down wires, and make death-defying leaps from rooftop to rooftop in order to outrun his troubled history.
Can you repeat the second half of that again? Because I'm torn between two games.
It soon becomes clear that he'll need to dart up walls, zip down wires, and make death-defying leaps from rooftop to rooftop in order to outrun his troubled history.
Okay, I feel like the second half is Mirror's Edge. That's
Oh,
the vibe I'm getting.
That makes sense.
I was thinking Sunset.
Dishonored.
I was thinking Sunset Overdrive.
I was thinking
Ooh,
Dishonored.
yes.
Because you said slide down the
See-
wires. You don't slide down wires in Mirror's Edge. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you've got
I
like a zip wire, like you've got like wires.
Yeah,
and
I guess
cable.
that. I was thinking like on the rail, like Ratchet.
Yeah, true. I mean, originally I was getting like infamous vibes of the sit down.
Yeah,
wire
that was my
stuff.
first
was too.
thought, and then yeah.
But no. So what do we think? Either Sunset Overdrive or Mirror's Edge for the second half.
That's what we're working as a team, right? Because
I guess so.
No, yeah.
yeah, we kind of have
This is,
to. I
this,
think.
this is a puzzling one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the
what's-
first half of the? I'm forgetting.
Something City of Glass. Yeah.
You want me to read it again?
Yeah, the first
Yeah,
half.
this is
please.
the first half.
When a former investigative journalist returns to the City of Glass to say
Oh,
a final farewell to
that
his
sounds
best
like-
friend.
Well, no, it's not Alan Wake because he wasn't a journalist. He was an author.
Writer. Yeah, writer. Former investigative journalist returns to the City of Glass. I feel like I've heard the City of Glass thing before. I just forget where.
I'm blanking on the glass part, honestly.
I sound like very deja vu. Like I feel like I know it.
I'm gonna just say Infamous Edge,
Infamous Edge.
like Infamous and Mirror's Edge.
No, the
Infamous
names
Edge.
the names need to combine.
Well, I was
I-
combining
yeah.
them. Infamous Edge.
Yeah, it's-
Infamous.
That's not how
Mirror's
it
Edge.
works. It needs to be like the names
it
need to be within each other. Like
Isn't it?
Spider-Man of Medan.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. So it
Mir-
would be like Infamous. Infamous Mirror's Edge.
I don't think it's Infamous and Mirror's Edge because they'd be one of like they'd both be relegated to the second half. Not they wouldn't correlate to the first half with the investigative journalist.
Do you want to
Oh
have?
shit! Wait, hold on. No, the City of Glass is from Mirror's Edge. That's what it is. I think. So, investigative
sure. Damn.
investigative journalist returns to the City of Glass. Can you repeat the whole thing again, please?
Hope I haven't made this one too difficult. When a former investigative journalist returns to the City of Glass to say a final farewell to his best friend, it soon becomes clear that he'll need to dart up walls, zip down wires, and make death-defying leaps from rooftop to rooftop in order to outrun his troubled history.
This just, I mean, if we were to take this as like one game as a whole, it'd be the wildest game.
It sounds like Assassin's Creed in the second part too, but not
No,
the
'cause
Wire.
I'm
Not the Wire.
yeah, I'm 90% sure though that Mirror's Edge is.
One of
I'm
them.
pretty
Yeah,
sure
Glock.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
It
getting in the
sounds
so-
journalist part. That's what's killing me.
Yeah.
If I may make a
What if-
suggestion,
Yes.
instead of focusing so much on the description, try and find a game that's title fits with what you think the second half is.
That didn't help. I'm sorry. I'm totally blanked on this one. I ain't gonna lie.
I think you should give us the
Mirror's
answer,
Edge.
James.
Yeah, I would
I
move
think you
on
should
now.
give us the answer.
We're done with
Do you
this.
want to give up on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing. We're blank on the investigative
It's
journalist part.
it's Twin Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Oh,
I never played Twin Mirrors, but yeah, he was an investigator. Like
that makes sense.
So.
I would never have thought
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Three more.
Of
If I played it, I probably would have got that. Honestly.
Okay. A half human, half demon hunter for hire must make the last stand to save humanity after the world has been ravaged by a series of climatic disasters. Aliens have returned with an invasion force bent on nothing less than the total annihilation of mankind, and the hunter, armed with his father's sword and his trusty guns, sets out to defeat them.
Devil
So
May
Devil May
Cry
Cry
to destroy all
obviously-
humans.
Devil May Humans. I'm kidding. So it's Devil May Cry, Destroy All Humans.
No, because they'd have to closely.
I feel like you're not getting the concept of this story.
Probably not. You're probably right. I think MinMax did this, and I didn't get it then, so I'm probably not going to get it now either.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not getting it either.
I'd say that. So the other game title has to either start with Cry or Devil. So.
Oh,
Mitch
I
has
get
the
it now.
concept
Because
right.
Spider-Man of Medan. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I
Mm.
understand.
Okay.
Well, what games have Cry in them besides Devil May Cry?
Oh, I get it.
It's not Cry of Fear because that's more Silent Hill than Aliens.
Devil May Cry Isolation.
It's not
no.
Half-Life. Half-Life doesn't have it.
Think of like it'd have to be like a game title that begins with something. Like
I can
Devil
read the
Cry.
description again if you want.
Sure.
A half human, half demon hunter for hire must make the last stand to save humanity. After the world has been ravaged by a series of climatic disasters, aliens have returned with an invasion force bent on nothing less than the total annihilation of mankind, and the hunter, armed with his father's sword and his trusty guns, sets out to defeat them.
I'm trying to think of a game of aliens. Duke
Yeah,
Nukem.
it's not.
It really sounds
Doom?
like Destroy All Humans to me.
There's Doom. No, that's demons. Duke Nukem. That's aliens.
Um,
Mm.
could it be Resistance?
Resistance. Resistance
that-
is
that-
aliens. It's
But that
James.
wouldn't-
Now it's James. He likes Resistance, so keep that in mind. Devil May
So
Cry
how do
3?
we make? Wait, how do we make that fit? So Devil May
Yeah, that's
Cry
the
and
thing.
Resistance. Devil May Cry Resistance.
Devil May Cry 3, because the Resistance 3. I don't know.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
James has stumped us twice now.
Yeah, can you give us a hint? Are we like somewhat warm on the second one, or
No.
No.
okay?
Wow. Shut down.
I can't think of a lot of alien games.
You've got the first half though.
Yeah,
Okay,
I knew
okay.
it had to be Devil May Cry. Even I know that.
I would judge you if no one. I would judge whoever. Honestly. Think of alien games.
Oh, alien invasion games where like they've already conquered Earth is the thing.
Oh, maybe no, not World War Z is a
Zombies.
zombie.
Yeah. There's not a lot of alien games when I think about it, or I'm just like totally blanking.
Yeah.
I will say it's an older game. Not as old as Devil May Cry, but it's an older game. Like PS3 era.
Uh,
And it's not Resistance, huh?
See, I was PS3 kind of like that era kind of like went over my head, honestly.
And I jumped off of gaming
That's
around
when
that time.
I was an Xbox fan back then.
It was on
Yeah.
Xbox as well, I think.
It's
Probably.
not Devil May Cry of Fear, no.
It's not Lost Planet. Nah.
Devil May Cry
That's-
Lost Planet.
Devil May Cry. The Devil May Cry about a lost planet that he lost because he misplaced it.
That was an alien invasion. You were on the aliens. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you've stopped again, James.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Wait.
It's Devil May Crisis 2.
Crisis.
Oh no!
I never played Crisis games.
I never played it either.
Oh, but that makes so much sense.
All I know is Crisis 1 was the game where everybody when it came out.
Everybody what?
Nobody actually played it. They just played it to brag about their PC.
Oh god. That's right.
All right.
That's all I
This,
Can it run
this next one's easier, I guarantee it. Right. Set in an alternate 1951, the world has been ravaged by an alien menace. Play as the apex predator of the seas, a terrifying shark, to push back the alien invasion.
Man,
The Wonderful Man-Eater.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that'd be the second one. So the first title would have to end with man, possibly.
1951.
1951. Alternative
Destroy All Human-
1951.
Wait.
Destroy All
Destroy
Human.
all human eaters.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that was a good guess. Destroy all human.
It was
eaters.
worth a yeah.
Yeah. What else? What other alien game is in the 50s? There's
Yeah.
only one.
Oh, it's Crisis 2, obviously.
Can it run Crisis? This is a somewhat tricky one. Can you repeat it again?
Set in an alternate 1951, the world has been ravaged by an alien menace. Play as the apex predator of the seas, a terrifying shark, to push back the alien invasion.
Alien game.
So it's another alien game.
I know it's not Destroy All Humans 2 because
Resistance
what?
Fall of Man-Eater.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
That was in the 50s.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I think you
Yeah.
and Mitch have like a wavelength of certain PS3 games that you guys just played, and just me and Dory just goes over. Honestly,
Yeah.
the PS3
I-
games always taunt me in every game we play.
I've never owned a PS3. I'll put that out there as well. I just know James, so I'm like,
Yeah.
Resistance has to be in here somewhere, and it's
Yeah,
alien.
that's a good guess. I just didn't know it was in the 50s. Like that's what threw me off.
I didn't
Alright.
either, but I just went for it.
Yeah.
For a second there, I was worried that you guys didn't know the subtitle of Resistance for the first one. Right, so I've got one more. This one should be pretty easy as well. Right. London has fallen into an oppressive nightmare, but there's still a chance to trigger a wake-up call. Rally a colourful team of diverse and powerful heroes to use the city's tech and firepower against those pulling the strings in this exhilarating 6v6 team-based shooter.
Well, one of them is Watchdog Legion. I
Hmm.
think an oppressive government in the UK.
Yeah, and London.
In
Wait,
London.
can you repeat the first half again? Because I'm not sure if it said which London.
London has fallen into an oppressive nightmare, but there's still a
Yeah.
chance to trigger a wake-up call.
Yeah, okay, so the wake up call, yeah, that sounds like Watch Dogs Legion.
Mhm.
We Happy Few? This kind of sounds like We Happy Few a little bit.
So what's a 6v6 multiplayer game?
Well, it's not Overwatch. That's 6? No. Is it?
Could it be Apex?
Wait, over Watch Dogs Legion?
There you go.
Over Watch Dogs
Yeah,
Legion?
it was James. It was definitely Overwatch. So
Yeah.
I thought you guys were to just completely walk past Overwatch there.
All right, so, I mean, we're
I've-
3 for 4,
I've-
right? We're 3 for
I've-
4.
I've gotten like one of them in every round. So there's that. So I
I've
think
think
you're
gotten
fine,
none.
Dory.
It took me half.
Three
It took
for
me
five.
like a pick or two for me to even get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 for 5, that's not bad, I suppose.
Yeah.
Those two of those were maybe a bit too difficult. But yeah, that concludes the podcast for this week. Jeez, that was a long one. Right. Well,
no, I wouldn't say it was a long one. Honestly, we started a little late. To be fair.
Sure.
True.
But yeah, we had Dory's review of the second DLC for the Outer Worlds, Murder on Eridanos, go up this week. So check that out. That's on the channel. If you like this podcast, subscribe to the podcast feed. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, where you can find more great content like that. Yeah, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. Give the video a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching the YouTube version, and leave a comment. And yeah, thank you for joining us once again. We'll see you next week.
I will disappear. Goodbye.
Bye.
I won't see you guys next week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we're back. And Dory, I believe, has a special announcement.
Now
Went a bit Sean
Let's
Connery there.
start from the top on that one.
Let's start from the top.
Timestamp.
No,
all right.
We'll include this in.
Yeah, we'll keep this in. All right, we have a special. Fuck. Okay, we're not gonna. I'll put it at the end. All right, we're back, and Dory has a special.
I tried to keep it together.
God fucking damn it.